You only said, my wife is the most fragrant. The next moment, he was reborn from a lifelong bachelor, into the body of a scumbag. He, a domestic abuser, married a popular actress. And she even bore him an adorable daughter. But after the honeymoon period ended, he was unexpectedly fired from his company. He felt it was all because he married Xiaomeng, this jinx. That cost him his career. You can't help but mutter a curse, damn it. Bei, having just been abused by her husband, the mother and daughter were trembling on the sofa. Xia Xiao, holding the child, Meng Meng. Meng Meng saw you staring at her. She subconsciously hugged Meng Meng tighter. Tears welled up in her eyes. She had considered taking Meng Meng away, but she herself is an orphan, and all the family money is in this devil's hands. Seeing their fear, Xiao Li, you sighed deeply, Xiao Li, let's just make the best of it. Then you slowly stood up, and turned on the light. Xia Xiao remained on the sofa, still clutching Meng Meng. Xiao Li, but a strange glint flashed in her eyes. You didn't rashly disturb the mother and daughter. Instead, Xiao Meng went back to the kitchen, grabbed a towel, and began cleaning the table. Xiao Lian cleaned until the house was spotless. You were already sweating profusely, so you took clean clothes from the bedroom, and went into the bathroom. Xia Xiao looked at the closed bathroom door. Her tense body finally relaxed. She looked at the room you had cleaned. Her eyes showed intense disbelief. What kind of act is this devil putting on? Mommy, I'm hungry. Meng Meng looked at her mother with big, round eyes. Be good, Meng Meng. Mommy will make you some food in a minute. Xia Xiao gently stroked Meng Meng's hair and whispered. She could only wait for this devil to fall asleep, so she could cook for herself and her child. At this moment, the bathroom door opened, and you emerged. You sat on the dilapidated little sofa. The mother and daughter both flinched inward. You shook your head, ignoring them both. You opened the door and went out. Xia Xiao froze, a look of despair in her eyes. Has he gone out to buy alcohol again? He hasn't had enough to drink tonight. He and Meng Meng will go hungry again tonight. Xia Xiao bit her lip, her face turning pale. Tears couldn't stop falling. Mom, don't cry. Meng Meng is not hungry anymore. Meng Meng thought it was hunger. She thought it was because of her stomach that made Mom cry. She quickly reached out her small, delicate hand, clumsily wiping Summer Xiao's face. Xia Yuyao bit her lip. Tears fell even harder. After a while, she spoke in a trembling, soft voice. Meng Meng, be good. Mommy will put you to sleep. You won't be hungry after you fall asleep. Mommy will get up early tomorrow morning and make you something delicious, okay? Okay. Mommy, don't cry. Xia Xiao softly hummed a lullaby. She was putting Meng Meng to sleep. Watching Meng Meng slowly close her eyes, Xia Xiao reflected on the past 2 years since her marriage. Her heart filled with bitterness. She finally decided to leave tomorrow, to leave this hell. Even if I die outside, it's better than being tortured to death by this devil. Suddenly, a sound of a door lock came from outside. Xia Shi, who was still lost in thought, couldn't help but tremble again. She instinctively covered Menmen's little face. I quietly listened to the sounds outside. You opened the door. You subconsciously looked at the sofa. Your expression involuntarily froze. They had gone back to the bedroom, but it seemed they hadn't eaten yet. You stared blankly at the food in your hands. After a moment of thought, you placed the food on the table. Then you walked toward the bedroom. Xia Xiao remained tense. She heard your footsteps slowly approaching the bedroom. She silently prayed that you wouldn't come in. But the next moment, a knock came suddenly. I bought you some food. Come out to eat if you're hungry. I'll sleep in the side room tonight. Hearing this, Xia Jiao suddenly opened her eyes. Then she heard your footsteps fading away. The room instantly fell silent again. Only Xia Xiao's nervous breathing echoed in the bedroom. Meng Meng opened her eyes at some point. She clearly heard your voice. She was curiously staring at the closed door. That awful dad didn't even go back to his room to sleep today, and it seems he even bought himself dinner. Thinking about the food made her hungry again. She swallowed hard. She looked at her mother expectantly. Xia Xiao lowered her head. Seeing her daughter's expectant gaze, she mustered her courage. Tiptoeing, she quietly went to the bedroom door and opened it. The aroma of food from the dining table wafted over. Xia Xiao's eyes welled up. He had actually bought food for her and her daughter. Faced with this devil's sudden kindness, Xia Xiao didn't feel happy, but a deep-seated fear. Why would he do this? What else does he want to get from her? Meng Meng was barefoot. It also ran over on its little short legs. It peered outside through the crack in the door. Then her eyes suddenly lit up. Saliva involuntarily flowed down, but she didn't act rashly. Instead, she lifted her head. Her big eyes, warm or not, looked at her mother. Xia Xiao closed her eyes helplessly. She took a deep breath. Then she forced a smile. She picked up Meng Meng. Meng Meng, be good. Let's eat quietly. Meng Meng hurriedly nodded. Of course you heard the sounds from outside the room. You sighed deeply again. After taking a breath, you sat up thoughtfully. I only realized after buying food and dishes, that there's only a little over 1800 yuan left in this house. I need to make some money. Moments later, you suddenly sat up straight, eyes shining. How could I not have realized it sooner? This is a parallel world, after all. You're excited. Reaching out, I picked up my phone and scrolled through it repeatedly. After a while, a smile touched your lips. This world is exactly as I remembered. Cultural heritage and the entertainment industry are completely different from my world. Some things that would make you frown, like those awful pop songs, are topping the charts. You clutched your phone tightly. Your mind raced. Classic songs from the original world slowly surfaced in your mind. Thinking. You gradually couldn't hold on anymore. I could only drag my weary body into sleep. 6 o'clock the next morning, you gently opened the door and walked out of the bedroom. The dining table and kitchen were spotless. Xia Xiao must have cleaned up after dinner last night. You stood there for a moment, thinking. Then I quietly went into the bathroom to wash up. You know Xia Xiao usually doesn't get up to cook until 8 o'clock in the morning, because you used to always sleep until after 10 o'clock. Only after he gets up and finishes his drinks, only then could she and her daughter eat his leftovers. You subconsciously sighed again. Then you quickly washed up. Xia Xiao in the room had actually already woken up, but she didn't dare to go out. The sounds of washing up outside disappeared. The bedroom door clicked shut. Xia Xiao pursed her lips. Her eyes were fixed on the bedroom door. She was a little curious. Where did he go out again? After waiting for a long time, there was still no sound outside. Xia Xiao glanced at Meng Meng, who was still fast asleep beside her. She thought for a moment, then mustered her courage and quietly got out of bed. She opened the bedroom door and went out. The smell of alcohol in the room was already very faint. The smell of fresh air blowing in through the window is very pleasant. This situation made Xia Jiao feel a sense of unreality. She hadn't smelled this fresh scent in a long time. Xia Xiao approached the window. She looked out at the world. Without realizing it, she became a little dazed. It wasn't until this moment that she suddenly remembered. She was only 24 years old. She didn't know how much time had passed. The sound of the doorbell rang again. Xia Xiao was startled awake. Then, instinctively, her whole body tensed. She mechanically turned her body. You also awkwardly froze in place. You didn't expect Xia Xiao to already be awake. After you finished washing up, you found there was no food at home. So I just bought some meat, vegetables, and rice. Both of them froze. Only then did he truly see his wife's face. She was beautiful. Many internet celebrities and stars in the Kitahara world are much prettier. It's just that she was too thin. His face was excessively pale. Seeing this, you felt a mix of pain, hatred, and embarrassment. Such a beautiful wife, yet she was treated so cruelly. It's simply outrageous. Morning. I'll go make breakfast. You were the first to break the awkward silence. Carrying the groceries, he quickly went into the kitchen. Xia Liao couldn't believe her ears or eyes. He had actually greeted her. And when did he learn to cook? A great sense of injustice washed over her. She bit her lip hard. Her eyes gradually welled up. What is this? Pitying myself. A pang of conscience. Mom. Meng Meng woke up then. Perhaps she couldn't find her mother. She ran out barefoot. As soon as she came out, her little nose caught the scent of food. She turned her head and stared at the kitchen with wide eyes. You in the kitchen naturally saw the little one, too. You smiled at the little one, opening your mouth. But unexpectedly, Meng Meng shrank behind Xia Xiao in fear. You touched your nose helplessly. In a short while, the meal was ready. You looked at the two who were still standing stiffly in the distance. Come wash up and have dinner. Meng Meng and Ming Ming are already swallowing their saliva. But she still didn't move. 1. You were somewhat looking forward to it, but seeing their guarded expressions, the expectations in your heart sank to the bottom of the sea. Silence fell. Then you sighed again. You guys eat first. After saying that, you walked into the side room. Xia Xiao didn't move. She watched the ajar door close. Then she looked down at the expectation in her daughter's eyes. She sighed inwardly. Meng Meng, go wash your hands and eat. On the table was the millet porridge you made. The golden color is so tempting. There are also 2 side dishes and a small bowl of steamed egg. The moment I saw the steamed egg, Meng Meng's eyes immediately lit up. Mom, did Dad make this for Meng Meng? Xia Xiao was momentarily speechless. She couldn't speak. She looked at her daughter's expectant eyes. Finally, she nodded. Meng Meng's eyes immediately lit up even more. She eagerly scooped a spoonful of egg custard and put it in her mouth. This is the first time Dad has cooked for her. It's so delicious. Xia Xiao silently ate her meal. Her heart was conflicted and confused. Her gaze involuntarily shifted to the closed door of the side room. You're sitting at your desk in the side room. Actually, I'm starving. But you know, right now, that mother and daughter outside can't even manage to eat at the same table as each other. You shake your head and dismiss these thoughts. I deleted my old account, the one with a few thousand followers. You registered a new one. You habitually opened Douyin's trending topics list. And the next moment, your brow furrowed. What kind of garbage is this singing? When did a trivial pop song like this, which people only casually latch onto, manage to dominate the trending list? You must have made up your mind. These were left by Xia Xiao from before. You spread the sheet of music paper on the table. The pen in your hand swiftly writes out the musical staff. In your original world, you're a songwriter. This is just space-time transportation. This little thing can't possibly stump you. In just a short moment, a complete musical score appeared before you. Then, holding a guitar, you sat at the desk and composed yourself. The next moment, you closed your eyes. Your fingers lightly swept the strings. As the sound of the guitar drifted from the room, Xia Xiao, who was silently eating, suddenly froze. He also plays the guitar. How is that possible? That guitar is his own. Xia Xiao knows very well. He doesn't play the guitar. At least, he didn't before. But what's going on now? Accompanied by the sound of a guitar, your singing voice slowly drifted over. Xia Xiao was even more stunned. Her eyes were full of disbelief. Even those happily eating their meal. Meng Meng was captivated by the singing. She stopped the spoon in her hand. She looked towards the closed door of the side room. Meng Meng knew that it was her dad's voice, singing while cooking for himself for the first time. So gentle. Even if Xia Jiao hadn't heard this song before, she could still feel its power. Such a beautiful melody. Until the next wave of singing sounded. Her shoulders began to tremble slightly. Tears fell one after another. It's been 2 whole years. Every day is filled with fear and anxiety. She hasn't listened to music in 2 years. She hasn't left the house in 2 years. Every day is just dealing with mundane chores and a messy house. And there's him, slowly turning into a devil. Now that she's finally mustered the courage to escape. What does he mean by singing this? What does it mean that he suddenly changed? Xia Xiao was somewhat overwhelmed / crushed / breaking down. She was lost again. Fear of the road ahead, and the fear of the person she has become. She is afraid that this is just a fleeting dream. The song also stops at this moment. Meng Meng also notices her mother's crying. She climbs up onto Xia Xiao's lap in panic, and stretches out her small hand, trying to wipe away her mother's tears. Mommy, don't cry, don't cry. Meng Meng will blow on it for you. Meng Meng thought mommy was hurting again. She wiped away Xia Xiao's tears, lifting her little face and blowing on Xia Xiao's collar. Under the collar, Xia Xiao's back was covered in scars. Of course, you don't know that the mother and daughter outside are dealing with the consequences of your song. Right now, they're opening Douyin and clicking to record a video. You didn't show your face in the video. Only your nose and below were visible. You were holding a guitar. You cleared your throat. This time, you were clearly much more formal, and you played and sang the song completely again. Until the song ends, you will record and save it. Then you will cut out the unnecessary time at the beginning and end. Finally, you will extract the audio and add lyrics and music. Submit the copyright online. Once everything is done, you've only edited one title. With You All My Life, an original song, dedicated to everyone. I hope you all enjoy it. Please like and support. Video upload successful. You let out a sigh of relief. It's finally done. Now, I'll just quietly wait for the audience's reaction. This song is a surefire hit in this era. You put the guitar back in the closet. Then I touched my hungry stomach. I scratched my head. I wonder if that mother and daughter have finished eating. I'm so hungry. What craftsmanship. Rubbing your stomach, you finally couldn't wait any longer. He gently pushed open the door, revealing a crack. He peered out cautiously, like a thief. He happened to see Xia Xiao leaving the dining table with Meng Meng in her arms. Her eyes were red, as if she had been crying. She clearly saw herself, too. After a moment's hesitation, she quickly returned to the master bedroom with the child. You breathed a sigh of relief. You opened the door and went to the dining table. Finally, I can eat. You looked at the food obviously left for you on the table. You felt a little happy. Then you picked up the millet porridge and gulped it down in big mouthfuls. You cleaned up all the food on the table. You tidied up the bowls and chopsticks. With nothing to do, you paced around your room. I took a look at the layout of this home. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-living-room apartment. Only 50 square meters. We bought it together when we got married. The furniture and decorations are all from that time. These things they look a bit worn. You shook your head. You went back to the sofa and plopped down. It's hard to imagine how Xia Xiao managed to live with her child in this atmosphere. For 2 years without hardly going out. It feels like being in prison. You also know you can't change things overnight. You can only sit on the small sofa, fiddling with your phone, searching for ways to maintain a family, how to make a child happy, how to be a good father. The answers online are varied and numerous. It made you scratch your head. Then, the master bedroom door suddenly opened again. You looked in the direction of the sound, and saw a little head peeking out. Meng Meng tilted her head, and stared with the same captivating eyes as her mother, curiously examining herself. Those bright, sparkling eyes, full of innocence and clarity, would melt your heart. It's just that her cute little face is too thin, just like her mother. She would be even more beautiful if she were a little chubbier. Yes, also, before, the mother and daughter could only eat leftovers for a day, and the dishes mixed with alcohol, the little one couldn't eat. The original owner didn't give the mother and daughter any money. They could only eat irregularly, sometimes hungry, sometimes full. Did you see Meng Meng? My face subconsciously wanted to smile, but your lips haven't even begun to turn upward. When I saw Meng Meng get scared and quickly close the door again, she scurried back. Xia Xiao's clear voice then sounded from inside the room. She was soothing the child. The smile froze on your face. You innocently touched your nose. Time slipped by quietly. Until noon. You put down your phone and stood up. It's time to make lunch. Just then, the bedroom door opened. Xia Xiao, expressionless, carrying a pile of clothes, came out of the bedroom. She walked past you, standing in front of the sofa, as if she didn't see you. She went straight to the bathroom. You clearly saw her stiffen when she came out. Is she going to do laundry? You suddenly remembered. The clothes you washed yesterday were still in the washing machine. Thinking about this, you also quickly walked towards the bathroom. Xia Xiao was very nervous. She didn't expect you to still be home. Usually at this time, you would have already gone out drinking with your drinking buddies. She heard your footsteps approaching her. Her heart pounded even faster. Her body trembled slightly. My clothes are still in the washing machine. Could I take them out to dry them? A familiar voice came from behind her. Xia Xiao, bending over to open the washing machine, was startled. Her body instinctively recoiled into the bathroom. Be careful. You couldn't help but say again. Xia Xiao finally realized. He was asking for her opinion. Her eyes darted around, avoiding his gaze. Okay, you take it first. Thank you. You clenched your fists. Your hands trembled slightly. Your eyes betrayed your anger and heartache. You just clearly saw, below Xia Jiao's neck, those purplish red marks of blood. You're sorting the clothes from the washing machine. I didn't continue looking at her. I'll make lunch in a bit. Remember to call Meng Meng out for dinner. Meng Meng is asleep. I'll wake her up later. Xia Xia shrank back further. She looked extremely flustered. You know you're only putting pressure on her here. He helplessly touched his nose. He picked up the clothes from the washing machine. He quickly went to the balcony to hang them up. Then she walked into the kitchen. Xia Jiao, still holding her clothes in the bathroom, stood there dumbfounded. Not until the sounds of cooking came from the kitchen did she snap out of it. Trembling, she put the clothes into the washing machine, but her gaze unconsciously drifted towards the kitchen. What's wrong with him? Xia Xiao subconsciously touched her nose. Then she suddenly froze. When did he develop this habit? Xia Xiao stood there before the washing machine, listening to the sound of the drum turning. My heart felt strangely complicated, until all the clothes were washed. She took the clothes out to the balcony and started to hang them up. That man had been busily cooking in the kitchen the whole time. Meng Meng didn't wait for Xia Xiao to call her. She woke up by herself. Still barefoot, she opened the door. The next moment, when she saw you busy in the kitchen, her beautiful big eyes lit up noticeably. Then she curiously leaned against the kitchen doorframe, watching your back. Little Meng's face was full of anticipation. You were busy in the kitchen. Xia Xiao's spirit suddenly collapsed. She quickly turned around and leaned against the wall. She covered her face with her hands. She slowly crouched down. Tears fell silently. you still didn't eat with them. After placing the food on the table, you hurried out of the house, hearing the door close. Xia Xiao hastily wiped away her tears. She bit her lip. She stood up, hugged Meng Meng, and came to the dining table. No one knew how complicated her feelings were at this moment. Even she herself didn't know what she was thinking. The food was as delicious as breakfast. The little guy was already happily eating a beautiful egg, but the mother and daughter's peaceful lunch was quickly interrupted by a knock at the door. They instinctively looked up. Meng Meng snuggled closer to Xiaoyao. The small spoon she had been using to eat steamed egg was still in her mouth. Her big eyes followed your movements. You lowered your eyelids. You didn't dare look at the frightened mother and daughter. You simply walked to the sofa. You put down the bag in your hand. Then you spoke. Your voice was a little muffled. I bought you some ointment. Remember to use it. And I bought a toy for the child. I don't know if she'll like it. I saw other little girls have one. She should have one too. Xia Xiao didn't respond. You fell silent for a moment after you finished speaking. I know you won't believe me, but there are some things I still need to say. I won't drink anymore. And I won't hit you again. You and Meng Meng don't usually need to be so afraid at home. You don't need to be so afraid. The child is still young. This kind of atmosphere at home isn't good for her. You said it all in one go. I only feel that the depression in my heart has eased quite a bit. You didn't wait for Xia Xiao's response either. You silently walked back to the side room. Xia Xiao watched your figure disappear. Seeing the door close tightly, she didn't know what to say anymore. Just one short day. Faced with this man's sudden change, she still couldn't let down her guard. You're feeling even worse in the bedroom right now. Your eyes are red and puffy. It's clear you've been crying earlier. If possible, you wish you had never time traveled here. You don't want to know what's happening here. Especially when you see those scars on Xia Xiao's body. Your suppressed feelings become even heavier. You've only been in this house for a single day, and your heart feels like it's about to break. You really can't understand why someone could harbor such malice towards their own family. Xia Xiao ate, and still left some for you. She looked at the bag on the table and thought for a moment. I ended up leading Meng Meng to the master bedroom. You heard the bedroom door close next door. You knew the mother and daughter had finished dinner. Only then did I get up and leave the room. Then you saw the bag on the coffee table was still unopened. It just stayed there. You pursed your lips. You sighed. I don't know what to do. I could only sit down and eat in silence. At this moment, the door to the master bedroom was unexpectedly opened again. Meng Meng poked her little head out again. I was curiously watching myself eat. You tried again, smiling at her with a parted mouth. This time, you succeeded. The little one wasn't scared away. It continued to curiously observe me eating. You felt a slight sense of relief. A suppressed heart was also healed a bit by this soft and cute little kid. You put down your chopsticks, and used the most gentle voice of your life to call out to Meng Meng. Meng Meng, your sudden words scared the little thing, causing its body to tremble slightly, but it still didn't retract. Instead, it turned its head towards the master bedroom. Then, as if encouraged, it looked at you again. A childish, soft voice came from behind her. Dad. Hearing that voice, you trembled. Your eyes instantly welled up. This was the most beautiful melody you had heard since you time traveled. Meng Meng tilted her little head, questioningly looking at her dad who was both crying and laughing. You softly hummed, responding to the little one. Then you stood up, picked it up and gently shook it in front of Meng Meng. Meng Meng stared with big, warm eyes. She seemed a little moved. She glanced at the doll in your hand. Then she turned her head and looked into the master bedroom. After a long time, she slowly and hesitantly walked towards you. At this moment, your heart was pounding like a drum, afraid of scaring the little one, who's finally taking steps towards him. Meng Meng only knows that Dad will make delicious food for her. Now she's also holding her favorite toy. He seems like he won't yell at her and Mom anymore. She walks to your side and lifts her little face. He sniffed hard. Then he showed a happy smile. Daddy doesn't smell bad anymore. Meng Meng, look, isn't the doll in Daddy's hand pretty? You spoke to Meng Meng with utmost gentleness and seriousness. Meng Meng's little hand twitched. She seemed to want to take the doll from your hand, but she still couldn't muster the courage to reach out. She just used her pair of bright, black eyes to look at you intently. Your gaze remained fixed on Meng Meng. You naturally saw her movement, so you slowly crouched down, until you were level with Meng Meng. Then you gently placed the toy in Meng Meng's hand. Meng Meng finally took her favorite toy. Her gaze shifted from you to the doll. A little finger gently touched the doll's soft dress. Her eyes immediately curved into crescents. You watched the little one's delighted expression as she held the toy. Your heart was a mixture of emotions, especially seeing Meng Meng's thin little face up close, and the faded dress she was wearing. The clothes that are obviously much smaller make your heart hurt like being pricked by a needle for an instant. She's only 3 years old. She should be at an age where she's held in the palm of your hand. You gritted your teeth, and quickly wiped your eyes. She squeezed out a smile and quietly watching Meng Meng playing beside her. At this moment, there's nothing else in your eyes. Xia Jiao in the master bedroom was even more nervous at this time. She didn't know if this was right or wrong. Xia Xiao couldn't help but cry when she heard that. She sat on the bed quietly like this, silently wiping away her tears. Not long after, Meng Meng seemed to be tired from playing. She hugged her doll tightly. I glanced at my dad, who was still smiling foolishly at me. A conflicted expression flickered across my little face. Then I turned and ran back to my bedroom. Stomp, stomp, stomp. You just stared blankly as the little one disappeared. I touched my nose. I smiled silently. It seems I still need to get Shui Jia Hua Sure a pair of suitable slippers. Always going barefoot isn't a good habit. And what you don't know is, just one night, your song, Xingyu, went viral on Douyin. At 10 o'clock that night, this video successfully made it to 5th place on Douyin's trending searches. At that moment, at Douyin headquarters, the door to Yang Yonglin's office, the operations director, was knocked on. Her expression was serious. Looking at the usually decisive CEO, she wiped the sweat from her forehead. Director Yang, I have a special situation to report. A video on the platform just reached the trending search list in only 2 hours. It's currently ranked 5th. Yang Yonglin didn't take it seriously. She still frowned. She waved and took the tablet that Xiaoli handed over. What's the rush? It's not the first time this has happened. Speak. Which big influencer crashed and burned this time? It's not a big influencer. It's a new account that just registered today. And this video hasn't gone through our streaming process. The video content is just a song. Xiaoli spoke cautiously, while observing Director Yang's expression. She knows about it. Director Yang hates being disturbed during her break time. He's also betting on the value of this video. Upon hearing Xiaoli's words, Yang Yonglin's expression indeed became surprised. A new account, a song. Without even streaming it, it's already number 5 on the trending list. Saying this, she sat back down in her office chair. She opened Douyin's trending searches. Then the surprise in her eyes deepened. Number 4 on the trending list. I really want to see what kind of song this is. After the song, Yang Yonglin fell silent. This was the first time in her long career at Douyin that she had heard such a beautiful song on the platform. Yang Yonglin clicked on the creator's homepage. She checked his name, Xing Yao. It's a very nice name. Xiaoli, you did a great job. Help me stream this video. Let more people see it. Make sure this video is trending at number 1 tomorrow. Xiaoli nodded firmly. He knew he had made the right bet. After Xiaoli left, Yang Qinglin listened to the song all the way through again. It was still so beautiful. She tapped her fingers lightly on the table a few times, as if she were thinking about something. After a moment, she picked up her phone, edited a private message, and sent it. You got up at 5 o'clock. You still don't know your song has gone viral. After a quick wash and getting ready, I left the house to begin my morning exercise. This body is worse than you imagine. I hadn't run for long. Before I was breathless and panting. I ran and stopped like this, for a whole hour. You finally ran 5 kilometers. This is the workout plan you set for yourself. When you got home, it was already 7:40 in the morning. You had just opened the door, and went to the bathroom to wash up. Xia Xiao came out and I ran right into her. Her bangs were wet with water droplets. She was wiping them with a towel. She was startled when she saw me. Her expression was somewhat flustered. I didn't know you had gone out. I'll go make dinner now. You hesitated for a moment. It was a little awkward facing this situation, but you still answered quickly. Meng Meng is still sleeping. Xia Xiao pursed her lips. She nodded, making a hum. Her heart beat faster. She's used to seeing you in a despondent state. This sudden sunny disposition of yours made her feel flustered. She instinctively avoided you. She quickly walked towards the kitchen. You watch Meng Meng. I'll cook after I've showered. Is there anything you want to eat? Your slightly ingratiating voice sounded from behind. Xia Xiao stopped. After a while, a soft tremor came from her in reply. No, do whatever you want. I'll go check on the kids. After saying this, Xia Xiao quickened her pace. She practically ran into the bedroom. You looked at the bedroom door that was shut. He shrugged helplessly. After showering, you felt ravenously hungry, and the original body's alcohol addiction acted up. You felt terrible. Saliva kept forming in your mouth. Meng Meng got up then. Xia Xiao washed and dressed her. Then she leaned against the kitchen doorframe, watching you cook. She was still holding the doll you gave her yesterday. You turned around and saw the little one. She grinned at Meng Meng, a doting smile on her face. What does Meng Meng want for breakfast today? Dad will make it for you. Meng Meng's 2 pigtails swayed slightly. She tilted her little head and thought hard for a while. Then her big eyes curved into a smile. Steamed eggs. Meng Meng loves steamed eggs. Okay, then let's have steamed eggs. You replied indulgently, reaching out to ruffle Meng Meng's cute little head. The hand quietly retracted, afraid of scaring this little angel. Take your time. No rush. You think to yourself. Meng Meng is clearly slowly accepting herself. This gives you hope. Your mood improves considerably. At this moment, even your cravings for alcohol and hunger seem to have left you. Breakfast was placed on the table. You returned to your small, private room as usual. Let the mother and daughter eat first, but better than usual. The two outside were eating. There were clearly more laughs. Lying on your side in bed, you picked up your phone, which you'd set to silent. You wanted to see how the video had performed. You just unlocked your phone, when you were shocked. Whoa, how many notifications are these? You swallowed hard. Open Douyin and go to your profile. Over 1 million on the page. Followers almost blinded you. With an excited heart, you continue to open the video. Over 2 million likes, and nearly 1 million comments, also make. A smile spread uncontrollably across your face. Overnight success. And you saw, the comment section is filled with positive reviews. All praise. More people are even requesting more songs like this. Next is the moment to witness the revenue. You open your backstage wallet. The income you see makes you grin from ear to ear, without taking any ads. Just one day, this video's income is solely generated from traffic, reaching a terrifying 320,000. Or is it the income after paying taxes? You finally breathed a sigh of relief. You have money now. Life finally doesn't have to be so tight. Before, when you were holding all your savings, a little over $1,000, you were even careful when buying groceries. After transferring the earnings to your bank card, you waited until the two people outside finished their meal. A sound of a door opening was heard. Then you quickly pushed open the door and went out to eat breakfast. You ate all the food on the table. After washing the dishes and chopsticks, you grabbed your phone and hurried out the door. This residential area is now quite old. The reason we bought a house here was simply because it was cheap. He and Xia Xiao didn't work long before they got married. Neither of them had much money. They had dreamt of being able to afford a better house someday. Unfortunately, in the 2 years since their marriage, the original owner not only didn't find another job, but also squandered all their savings. Even Xia Peyo's phone was sold by him to buy alcohol. Coming out of the dilapidated apartment complex, you walked straight to the shopping mall in your memory. As soon as you entered, you saw a store called Huawei, a major domestic brand mobile phone store. There were only a few customers in the shop. A young female shop assistant was boredly painting her nails behind the counter. Her eyes lit up noticeably when she saw you come in. She quickly walked up to you. "Handsome guy, are you looking for a phone?" You nodded in agreement. You surveyed the counter. Then you chose a celadon-colored phone. The saleswoman quickly picked up the phone you had chosen. Her smile widened. "Sir, excellent choice. The model you've selected is our store's newest product. It's not only far ahead of the competition, but this phone also boasts a 100-fold zoom. And it's the world's first phone to support satellite calls." You nod. After thinking for a moment, he said, "They sell SIM cards here, right?" "Of course." "Is the handsome guy getting one for himself?" "If it's for personal use, you can get a card here." "It's not that I want to get a card. I'm getting a card for my wife." Then I glanced at you. I felt inexplicably disappointed. Throat, such a young man. Why enter the grave of marriage so early? Sure enough, all the good men belong to other people. The saleswoman thought to herself, but she didn't hesitate in her reply. Continuing, she said, "The handsome guy's wife is truly lucky. I think your wife will really like this phone model. But to get a SIM card, your wife will need to come in person, with her ID card to handle it herself." "Okay, then please just help me assemble this phone." You scratched your head. "I didn't expect that in this world. Buying a SIM card also requires real name authentication. I could only ask the clerk to wrap the phone first." In a short while, the phone was wrapped. After you scanned the code and paid, you quickly left the phone store. There are still many things to buy. We've already wasted a lot of time here. After you left home, Xia Xiao tidied the whole house up and down. She sat on the sofa, looking at the azure sky outside the window. After 2 days of airing out, the house was free of the smell of alcohol. Fresh air kept blowing in through the window. It made her feel unusually comfortable. This was something Xia Jia wouldn't have dared to imagine before, watching Meng Meng playing so happily. These are such good days. The sudden sound of a turning door lock startled Xia Xiao from her reverie. Meng Meng quickly scrambled up, hugging her doll and burrowing into Xia Xiao's arms. A commotion came from outside. A familiar voice followed. "Slower, slower. Don't scratch it. Hold it upright. Move it inside." Xia Xiao was somewhat flustered. She quickly scooped up Meng Meng. She wanted to return to the bedroom, but she couldn't help but curiously look outside. A strange man's figure was the first to appear in her vision. They were carrying a cream-colored cloud-style sofa into the room. Your eyes lit up noticeably when you saw Xia Xiao. Your face was filled with joyful delight. "Could you please help me pour a cup of hot water? Let the masters rest their feet after we're done." "Okay, I'll go pour it now." Having had no contact with outsiders for a long time, Xia Liao felt a little at a loss, but she quickly recovered. She quickly walked into the kitchen, holding Meng Meng. Your smile is even brighter. Although I'm sweating profusely now, but still full of energy. You and the masters moved the newly purchased sofas into the house. Then you moved the old sofas out. Then the TV, refrigerator, and plants. After all these new pieces of furniture were brought in, the house was transformed in an instant. Its originally old appearance was instantly transformed. It exuded a vibrant look once again. The discarded old furniture was finally sold by you for 800 kwai. Xia Jiao felt a little pain. Those furnishings, while a little old, but everything's fine. 800 is such a loss. But now she's more curious about where you got all this money from. According to her calculations, the family should be barely making ends meet. I sent the masters away. You returned to the living room, carrying a large bag. You surveyed your handiwork with satisfaction. The originally small living room suddenly felt full. Now this feels like home. You picked up a towel and wiped the sweat from your face. She placed the bag in her hand on the new coffee table. She plopped down onto the soft sofa. Mother and daughter in the kitchen were still standing there dumbfounded. By this time, Xia Xiao had put Meng Meng down. She was hugging her mother's leg, like a curious baby, looking left and right, clearly exploring the new things around the house. Seeing the little one trying things, a smile spreads across your face. Your eyes narrow into a slit. Suddenly, you feel a sense of accomplishment. You pulled a large bag from the coffee table, and placed a big pink toy on it. But your eyes stayed on Meng Meng. Sure enough, upon seeing the toy, Meng Meng's gaze was immediately drawn to it. She stared intently at the toy, unable to look away. One of her small hands still tightly clutched her doll. The other small hand was gripping Xia Xiao's clothes. Her head was slightly tilted forward. She wanted to see clearly what toy you were holding. You reached out and beckoned Meng Meng. Looking at Meng Meng with affection, you said, Meng Meng, come here quickly. Look what daddy bought you. Meng Meng didn't immediately run over. She first tilted her little face up and looked at mommy. Seeing Xia Xiao's lips move but say nothing. Then I walked over timidly. You had already opened the toy's packaging by then, revealing its true form. It's a princess house. The princess house is so messy. Meng Meng heard your words. Her eyes shone brightly. Her eyes clearly showed longing. She edged her small body closer to the sofa, right up to your legs. You smiled gently at that moment. He picked up the little princess from the dollhouse, and waved her in front of Meng Meng's eyes. He sighed in a delicate voice. The little princess isn't dressed yet. Daddy can't do it. Meng Meng, can you help daddy dress the little princess? Dress up beautifully, okay? You said this while handing the little princess to Meng Meng. Meng Meng blinked her big eyes. She glanced at you. Then, she tentatively raised her small hand slowly, until it touched the little princess in your hand. You kept smiling. You placed the little princess into Meng Meng's hands. You tried to hold Meng Meng's small hand with your own large hand, until you felt the soft hand in your palm. The corners of your lips curved upward slightly. Only then did you pick up the little princess's pink dress again. One hand holding Meng Meng's small hand, the other hand offering the little dress. A gentle voice sounded again. I'll leave dressing the little princess to Meng Meng. Meng Meng, can you teach daddy? Daddy's hands are so warm, even warmer than mom's. Meng Meng looked at the little princess in front of her. Then she looked at you, looking so sad and wronged. Suddenly she smiled. Daddy is so clumsy. Meng Meng will teach daddy. The little one's laughter showed her teeth. She leaned against your thigh. She took the little dress you offered. With clumsy movements, she put it on the little princess. You laughed too. You humbly accepted the little one's instruction, learning how to dress the little princess. At this moment, the small room suddenly brightened up. Xia Xiao leaned against the doorframe. She quietly watched this beautiful scene. Her eyes welled up. Father and daughter didn't play for long. Meng Meng, under your guidance, is still decorating the princess house. You look up and see Xia Xiao leaning against the kitchen door frame, lost in thought. Her faded light blue shirt is unusually striking at this moment. It makes you involuntarily narrow your eyes. You suddenly remembered. This is a parent-child outfit. It was when Meng Meng turned 2. Xia Xiao secretly bought it for him. Later, the original owner found out. Xia Xiao got beaten. The original owner sold your phone, too. Remembering this, you fell silent. The next second, you stood up from where you were running. Covering your mouth, you rushed to the bathroom and began to vomit violently. You only realize now what it means to be a person of conscience. When looking back at this behavior from a first-person perspective, it creates a feeling of disgust and anger. This sudden turn of events startled the woman and her child outside. Xia Xiao was even more frightened, trembling. She quickly walked to the sofa and hugged Meng Meng tightly. Meng Meng squirmed, trying to burrow into Xia Xiao's arms, afraid that if I'm even a moment late, the father who just finished vomiting will suddenly burst out, beating me and my mother like he used to. Before, every time he made such a sound, he'd be like a man-eating tiger. After a while, you emerged from the bathroom, looking haggard. Your eyes were bloodshot, crimson red. Looking at the frightened Xia Xiao and Meng Meng, your heart ached even more. Your stomach churned uncontrollably. but you still endured the discomfort. You weakly spoke to them. I'm sorry. I scared you. I'm just a little unwell. You thought about Zibaoan now occupying his body. 1. Seeing Xia Xiao and Meng Meng still eyeing me warily, I sighed heavily. I bypassed Xia Xiao, who was holding the child, and silently went into the kitchen. I picked up some vegetables and started washing them. Meng Meng probably hasn't finished playing yet. Why don't you play with her a little longer? I'll make lunch. Xia Xiao took a closer look at your profile. This profile was so familiar, yet so strange. Finally, she nodded. She sat down in the place you were sitting before, holding Meng Meng. Meng Meng secretly peeked out from her mother's arms. After discovering that her father was still the same gentle father, a smile finally spread across her little face. Until lunch was ready, the aroma of the food wafted through the living room. Xia Xiao saw you bringing the dishes to the table. She silently returned to her side position. Her lips moved slightly, but she couldn't utter a word. While eating, Meng Meng held a small spoon, suddenly turned to look at her mother who was busy with something. Her little brow furrowed, with a puzzled expression on her face. Mom, why isn't Dad eating with us anymore? Xia Xiao was chewing on a piece of stir-fried pork, which was her favorite dish. Whether before or after marriage, she eats very little, because you can't eat spicy food. Hearing her daughter's question, Xia Xiao unconsciously turned her head towards the side room. Then she turned back to look at her daughter, who looked puzzled. She suddenly smiled. This smile is like a spring flower blooming, exquisitely beautiful. That's because Mom and Dad aren't ready yet. The little one didn't understand. His little brow furrowed even more. Her little mind doesn't understand what her mother is saying at all. You, in the bedroom, are staring blankly. You know that your sudden nausea is because of emotional issues, but you can't change anything. Even though you're constantly reassuring yourself in your subconscious, it's not your fault, but it still doesn't change the fact that he is you. Helpless, you can only take out your phone. You scroll through Douyin videos to distract yourself. Your own videos are still high on the trending list. Many of the comments below are urging you to release a new song. At this time, the sound of dishes being washed comes from outside. Put down your phone. She pushed open the bedroom door and went out. Dinner is still on the table for you. Xia Xiao was washing dishes in the kitchen. Meng Meng, however, ran to the sofa. She was playing with her new toy. Seeing Dad come out, Meng Meng wasn't as scared as before. You smiled slightly. He walked forward and gently touched her little head. He turned to look towards the kitchen. A wave of nervousness washed over her. Not knowing where to put my hands, I could only helplessly twist the corner of my clothes. Seeing Xia Xiao's meek and submissive appearance, you couldn't help but frown. You silently sighed in your heart. It's all because of her gentle and reserved nature. It was only because of this that the previous demon was able to bully her so mercilessly. When you thought of this, the frown on your face relaxed. You picked up the phone you had just bought from the coffee table and placed it on the desk. Still looking at Xia Xiao, your tone was gentle. I bought you a new phone. See if you like it. There are also some things I want to discuss with you. Can you come sit here? Xia Xiao was originally looking down. After hearing your words, she then looked up at you. The first thing she saw were your clear eyes. Then she saw the brand new phone box on the table. She hesitated. After a moment, she softly hummed. Slowly, she walked to the sofa and sat down. Is there something we need to discuss? The sound is very faint. You have to prick up your ears to hear it clearly. You didn't answer. Instead, you picked up the phone box on the table and opened it yourself. A sky blue new phone was taken out by you. You set it up briefly and handed it to Xia Paoyao. Here's the phone. You'll need to get your own SIM card. I've already saved my number in it. If I'm not home later, you can call me if anything comes up. You said that while taking something else out of your pocket. He pulled out a wad of cash and placed it in front of her. This is cash I just withdrew. Take the kids out for a walk this afternoon if you're free. It's not good to always stay at home. Buy whatever you want. Especially clothes. I see that both of your clothes are much too small, and you should get a bank card. Carrying cash isn't safe or convenient. You're rambling on. You just blurted everything out. Xia Xiao looked up. I stared intently at the man before me, listening to his incessant muttering. My eyes slowly welled up. You've never seen Xia Xiao take out her phone before. I helplessly touched my nose. Does she not like this phone? I think the color is quite nice. And I just bought it. It's the latest model. If you don't like it, you can go buy another one you like. Xia Xiao shook her head. Then she took another deep look at you. No, I quite like it. Thank you. Her voice was still soft, a little choked, with a slight tremor. Their eyes suddenly met. You unnaturally looked away, but Qin felt relieved. I'm glad you like it. You're welcome. Okay, I'm going to eat now. After saying that, you stood up. You quickly walked to the dining table and ate heartily. Actually, Xia Xiao was still wondering about you. Where did you get so much money to buy all these things? But you didn't say. She naturally wouldn't ask proactively. She picked up the new phone on the table and glanced at it. The light blue phone case had a very good texture. Meng Meng, on the side, put down her toy at this time. Her little head leaned over curiously. Looking at the new phone in her mother's hand, Xia Xiao reached out and stroked the little one's head. One big and one small stared at the phone and began to study it, because they had sweated a lot this morning. After you eat and wash the dishes, you want to take a hot shower, but the mother and daughter stayed in the living room all day. This made you feel so embarrassed that you went to take a shower. You could only return to the side-lying position in a somewhat sullen mood. 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The weather outside finally wasn't so hot anymore. Xia Xiao sat on the sofa for a while. She still picked up the money on the table. I took Meng Meng out of the house. Meng Meng hadn't been out for a very, very long time. She really liked going out to play. But before, Mom never took her out, and Dad wouldn't allow them to go out. So she was unusually happy to go out this time. The little one held a doll in one hand and her mother's hand in the other. She skipped and hopped along. Her big, round eyes looked everywhere. Xia Xiao, however, was a little reserved. She unconsciously quickened her pace. She watched the pedestrians coming and going on the road. She inexplicably felt a little inferior, especially with the ill-fitting clothes she and Meng Meng were wearing. It made her feel that others' gazes would always inadvertently linger on her a little longer. The mall wasn't far. She vaguely remembered it was just 2 blocks away. This place is quite different from the shopping mall in her memory. Just 2 years. It seems to have been renovated more exquisitely. As soon as she entered, she saw a mobile phone store. Inside, there was a counter for applying for phone cards. Xia Xiao hesitated for a moment before taking her child inside. The shop was quite crowded. The shop assistants all looked very busy. Xia, who hadn't interacted with anyone for a long time, stood there somewhat dazed with Meng Meng. Luckily, a female shop assistant noticed her and Meng Meng. She proactively approached them and stroked Meng Meng's head. Then, a smile on her face, she said, "Such a good little one. Are you looking to buy a phone, miss?" Hearing someone praise Meng Meng, Xia Xiao also smiled. She shook her head. "No, I have a phone. I want to get a SIM card. Is it possible now?" The female clerk still had a smile on her face. While speaking, she guided Xia Xiao to the counter. "Okay, this way, please. We have several different packages for you to choose from. But may I ask what brand of phone you have? If it's a phone of our store's brand, there are discounts for the mobile plan." Hearing about the discount, Xia Xiao's eyes lit up. She softly asked, "Is this one okay? It seems to be your brand, and I just bought it this morning." The saleswoman's expression froze. She took another close look at Xia Xiao. There were barely 2 of the newest phone model sold today, and they're here to get a SIM card. The saleswoman naturally thought of you from this morning. So this mother and daughter were the ones from this morning. Are those the handsome guy's wife and child? But why are they both so thin? And their clothes clearly don't fit. That handsome guy doesn't seem like the type to mistreat his wife and daughter. The saleswoman was a little puzzled, but she didn't ask any more questions. She still had a smile on her face and exclaimed, "So the handsome guy who came this morning to buy a phone, it's your husband? You must be so lucky. This is our latest model of phone. With this phone, you can sign up for this package. Recharge 100, get 100 free. Get 600 free minutes of talk time. Still with enthusiastic service. Only this time, the service recipient has changed from you to Xia Xiao." Xia Xiao was being told. In a daze, she paid and successfully got the card. Until she walked out of the phone store, the saleswoman's enthusiastic voice still echoed in her head. It was terrifying. But she actually said, "You're a good man." Xia Yao really wanted to tell him, "A good man like that, why don't you take him home?" After buying a SIM card, Xia Xiao also opened a bank account. She deposited all her money. After buying the SIM card, she had 4,900 yuan left. You gave her exactly 5,000 yuan this time. She walked out of the bank with her phone and bank card. Xia Xiao looked at the surrounding skyscrapers. Suddenly, she felt alive. Now she could leave with her child. She could rely on the money in her hand to find a job to support herself and her child. She could even pursue her dreams again. The sudden freedom left Xia Xiao standing still for a long time, until a childish voice rang out in her ear. "Mommy, can Meng Meng have an ice cream?" She instantly snapped back to reality. Meng Meng, beside me, was still holding my hand. Her round eyes were fixed intently on the ice cream shop not far away. Saliva was about to drip from the corner of her mouth. Xia Xiao smiled. The smile was so bright and radiant. "Okay, but you can only eat one, okay? Otherwise, your tummy will ache. Okay." Meng Meng loves mommy the most. Finally, the mother and daughter went out. You took a nice, relaxing bath. After your bath, you started preparing tonight's dinner. The usual 2 meat and 2 vegetable dishes. For the main course, you planned to make some soup noodles. But because you didn't know when they would be back, you were worried the noodles would get soggy and not taste good. So I didn't serve the dishes right away. I put the noodles on a cutting board. The noodles were cut and placed on the counter. Then you went back to the living room and collapsed onto the sofa. You picked up your phone and started browsing parenting articles. What to do when a child refuses to eat? Just beat him up a bit. That won't do. Cross it out. cross it out. Meng Meng is so well behaved. How could he not eat? Besides, such a cute little guy. You wouldn't dare touch a hair on her head, until you're starting to get drowsy from all the brushing. You yawn. You glance at the time in the upper right corner. It's already 7 o'clock in the evening. Where are those two still? You suddenly sat up straight. No way. Something must have happened to them. You're a little nervous. You quickly stood up and put on your shoes, preparing to go out and look for them. But as he opened the door, he happened to run into them returning from outside. A fragrant breeze blew in from the doorway. You were completely stunned. Xia Jiao was humming an unfamiliar tune at that moment, her steps light. She was holding several handbags. Meng Meng held onto the hem of her dress with one hand. In her other hand, she held the doll he had given her. What truly surprised you was that they both had new, well-fitting clothes on. 2 pairs of bright and cute almond-shaped eyes clearly froze for a moment when they saw you. The next moment, Meng Meng sweetly leaned in and called out, "Papa." Clearly, Meng Meng was in a very good mood. After going out to play and changing into new clothes today, that "Papa" almost scared you half to death. Your voice trembled as you answered. Then you crouched down and rubbed Meng Meng's hair. You scooped up the adorable little one, and you were the first to enter the house. "Papa will make noodles for you today, okay? Add 2 eggs. Okay." Meng Meng loves to eat eggs. Meng Meng loves Daddy the most. Xia Xiao outside the door is blown about in the wind. The little one just said she loves Mommy the most. In the blink of an eye, she betrayed me. Meng Meng didn't have to wait long. The egg noodles were ready in no time. You brought the noodles to her. You gently scraped her little nose. Then, you turned and walked back to the bedroom as usual. You just turned around. But unexpectedly, you were suddenly grabbed by Xiaohua's little hand on the corner of your clothes. "Dad, can you eat with Meng Meng?" That soft voice sounded again. Turning your head, you met Meng Meng's expectant gaze. I hesitated. I secretly glanced at Xia Xiao sitting beside me. Xia Xiao didn't speak or look at me. It was as if she hadn't heard Meng Meng. She continued eating her noodles. I was speechless. This situation is really difficult to handle. Either kill me or give me a straight answer. What's the meaning of this silence? You can only try tentatively probing. Then I'll stay and have dinner with Meng Meng. Dad sits, sitting beside Meng Meng. You touched your nose. With an unnatural expression, you brought another bowl of noodles from the kitchen. Sat down beside Meng Meng. Mom was sitting on the left. Dad was sitting on the right. In the middle, Meng Meng was surrounded by her parents for the first time, and the smile on her face never faded. She even ate her meal with extra gusto. She completely finished a large bowl of noodles. Finally, it was Xia Jiao who stopped the little one from eating more because she was full. The little one finally gave up. But after dinner, Meng Meng wanted her parents to play Princess House with her, but her wish fell through. In the end, only you played with Meng Meng. Xia Xiao returned to the master bedroom alone after dinner. You understand this too. To be able to sit at the table and eat together with them, Xia Xiao must have had a tremendous internal struggle. Put yourself in Xia Xiao's shoes and think about it. If you were treated the way she was treated by EK, and wanted to get along peacefully with your enemy, you definitely wouldn't be able to do it. No. If it were me, the original me would definitely not even be able to find a place to live now. I'd be chopped up and fed to the dogs. I stayed and played with Meng Meng until 9 p.m. Meng Meng was so sleepy she kept nodding off, but she still didn't want to go to sleep. During this time, you also discovered a very serious problem. That is, Meng Meng is now over 3 years old, but the little one still can't take off her shoes by herself. You know, normal 3-year-old children are already of kindergarten age. You know this is due to the previous dysfunctional family environment, so it can't be rushed, but you still feel incredibly upset. At this moment, Xia Xia walked out of the bedroom. She didn't say a word. I just silently watched you and Meng Meng on the sofa. The meaning in my eyes was clear. You understood instantly. I lifted Meng Meng from the sofa. After kissing her little face, I said with a smile, "Meng Meng, it's time to sleep. Daddy will play with you again tomorrow, okay?" Meng Meng's eyes, which were about to close, opened slightly. She looked at your face. Then she turned her head to look at Xia Xiao. Then the little head suddenly nestled into Dad's neck. Meng Meng wants to sleep with Dad tonight. The sudden words left you a little at a loss. Xia Xiao's face also darkened slightly. The silence was the worst. You looked at Xia Xiao innocently. This is the little guy's own idea. It wasn't your idea. Xia Xiao secretly clenched her fist. This ungrateful little thing. I wasted so much time taking care of her. She's been corrupted by the enemy's sugar-coated bullets in just 2 days. In the end, it was the little one who won. Xia Xiao gave her a quick wash. The little one snuggled happily into her father's bed. Meng Meng was like a koala, clinging to your neck and refusing to let go. And you let her hold you like that. This is your first time putting a child to sleep. You remembered online parenting advice again. So you gently told Meng Meng a bedtime story. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful kingdom. The king had 2 very lovely daughters. One of the daughters is called Aisha. Meng Meng felt incredibly satisfied. She fell into a deep sleep. The next morning, Meng Meng was still fast asleep. Ninong had already gotten up early. He quietly pushed open the bedroom door. He came to the living room, preparing to go for a morning run. The next moment, you looked as if you couldn't believe it. You rubbed your eyes. The ointment on the tea table in the living room was gone. Your eyes gradually lit up, and a knowing smile spread across your face. You left home this morning in a cheerful mood. Morning run, shower, and cooking. You spent over 2 hours in total. After breakfast was finished, I have one more task today, waking my daughter up. Meng Meng was awakened by your gentle voice. She rubbed her sleepy eyes. The moment she saw you, a cute and charming smile gradually bloomed on her face. The little one stretches out two soft, tender arms. In a posture clearly asking for a hug from dad, you immediately reach out and gently lift her, dressing her in the new clothes you bought yesterday. Only then do you carry her out to wash up. You have learned how to take care of children from online videos. But theory is just theory. Now that I'm putting it into practice, you realize how difficult it is. The little one's body is too delicate. You don't dare use force. So the whole process seems clumsy, especially when I tie my daughter's hair. I feel even more incompetent. After all that effort, in the end, I can only tie it into a messy bun. Daddy is a big dummy. Meng Meng saw her crooked hair in the mirror. She pouted and teased you. You pinched her little nose. Meng Meng couldn't help but giggle. She also reached out to pinch your nose. Xia Xiao came out of the bedroom and saw this heartwarming scene between father and daughter. She didn't say anything. She simply went into the kitchen silently and brought out breakfast. Perhaps she herself hadn't even noticed. The corners of her mouth had already subtly curled up. After the family of 3 had a simple breakfast, you didn't return Meng Meng to Xia Xiao. Instead, I continued playing with Meng Meng, coming to the sofa to play with the princess house. Only this time, while you were playing with Meng Meng, you inadvertently instilled in her little head some very simple numbers, the numbers from 1 to 10. After discovering Meng Meng's problem, you secretly formulated a plan. During your usual playtime, you cultivated a plan to foster the little one's independent learning, starting with simple numbers and moving on to some common sense of life. You will teach Meng Meng slowly. Obviously, this isn't something that can be achieved overnight, but luckily, Meng Meng is very smart. Before, she just didn't have anyone to teach her these things. Now, under your casual guidance, she quickly remembered some of this knowledge. And you've noticed that since Xia Xiao returned yesterday, she seems to have completely changed. She clearly has a newfound radiance, something she didn't have before. This is a good sign. It's put your mind at ease considerably. Xia Xiao downloaded apps like Douyin, while observing the interaction between the father and daughter. At this moment, she also noticed you, subtly guiding Meng Meng. She watched without showing her feelings, a hint of sweetness welling up in her heart. She had long wanted to guide her child. But how could she, like a normal mother, guide Meng Meng? Xia Xiao withdrew her gaze, looking at her phone screen. This truly is the latest model phone. The software downloaded very quickly. Just a few seconds. Several software programs had already finished downloading. The moment Xia Xiao logged onto her WeChat account, an unread message popped up. It was from her assistant, who had been working with her for 2 years. Taleli. Her WeChat only has a few contacts, except you, and a few from her previous company. Taleli's messages have been sent continuously from her wedding until 2 days ago, without interruption. Most of them were asking about her, but she never replied. Looking at the long string of messages, Xia Xiao felt a warmth in her heart. She immediately replied, "I'm sorry, Lulu. I haven't been able to reply to your messages until now. I'm fine now, don't worry." Less than 2 seconds after I sent the message, a reply came back instantly. "Xiao, you're finally alive. I thought you wouldn't bother with me after getting married. Woo-woo, Xiao, you don't know. Since you disappeared, rumors have been flying around the company, especially that annoying Lu Qian. She's been incredibly arrogant these past 2 years. She badmouths you to everyone she meets, saying you deserve it. It's infuriating." Seeing Leilei's message, Xia Jiao's lips pursed slightly. Lu Qian was right. Zibao really deserved it. Back at the company, I've always been one step ahead of Lu Qian. It's only natural that Lu Qian would react this way after retiring from the industry. It's understandable. Leilei, how are you doing recently? How's life been treating you? Xia Xiao didn't respond to Lulu. Instead, she asked about Luli's recent situation. "Sister Xiao, rest assured, I'm as tough as a cockroach. It's just that I miss you, Sister Xiao. Sister Xiao, will you make a comeback?" Xia Xiao paused. A trace of longing flickered in her eyes. Would she make a comeback? She turned her head to look at you. Then she glanced at Meng Meng. Moments later, the longing slowly faded from her eyes. "Should, not anymore. But, if Lulu misses me, we can find some time to meet up." Meanwhile, in the Tianmei Entertainment Building in the center of Jiangqing City, a girl about 1.6 meters tall put down the heavy object on her shoulder. Her hands excitedly tapped away on her phone. "Taleli, are you slacking off? Hurry up and work. Do you still think you're the assistant to a top actress? If you don't want to do this, leave now." The voice belonged to a woman with a vixen's face. Her face was tilted upward. Her slender, willow-like eyes were full of disdain. What are you looking at? Haven't you taken the equipment to the recording studio yet? If you delay my recording, can you afford to compensate me? Taleli glared at the woman. She let out a muffled sigh. But she still picked up the equipment from the floor and walked towards the recording studio. Okay, Sister Xiao, I'm off this Saturday. Let's get in touch if you're free. Xia Xiao looked at the message. A smile finally appeared on her face. She scrolled through again. Seeing there was no other information, I switched to Weibo. My last post on Weibo was still from 2 years ago. A statement announcing my retirement from the entertainment industry. My hundreds of thousands of fans had now dwindled to mere thousands. Apart from zombie followers, I was surprised to find some old fans still leaving comments, showing their concern. I casually scrolled through Weibo's trending searches. They were all recent gossip, but surprisingly, several mentioned the recently viral song, A Lifetime With You, Divine Song. Mysterious singer gains over 1 million fans overnight with just one video. Xing Yao. Who is he, exactly? In-depth analysis. Let's take a look at a recently discovered treasure song. Xia Xiao was curious about what the latest hit song was like. So, she clicked on the title to check it out. The phone screen automatically switched to a video interface. The familiar guitar melody began to play. The living room suddenly became quiet. Only the song echoed in their ears. You awkwardly turned your head away. You looked at the phone screen. Xia Xiao was completely stunned. This familiar song. Wasn't it the one that came from your room the other day? So he was recording a video that day. Meng Meng was the first to speak. She pointed at the phone screen with her little finger, then looked up at Xia Xiao. Her big eyes were full of curiosity. It's Daddy. It's Dad on the phone. It's Dad. Xia Xiao touched the little one's head and replied. She only now understood why you had so much money to replace the furniture at home. The number of likes is in the millions. Can we be without money? She turns her head to look at your sharply defined profile. Her eyes are complex and unreadable. Meng Meng gets her mother's answer. Even happier, she jumps back into your arms. Her 2 little hands cup your face. Big, bright eyes, milky voice. Papa is so gentle. Meng Meng wants to sing too, and get into the phone too. 2 soft little hands pressed against her face. Your gaze gradually melts. Similarly, using 2 big hands to gently cup my daughter's little face. Does Meng Meng like singing too? Yes. Meng Meng answered without hesitation, her big eyes curving into a smile. Your smile is even brighter. Okay. Then Dad will teach Meng Meng to sing. When Meng Meng learns it, you can sing it into your phone, okay? Meng Meng kept nodding her little head. You immediately beamed with joy after receiving the reward. Under the little one's adoring gaze, I quickly ran back to the side room and got the guitar. You went back to the sofa. You held your guitar and tuned the strings. You turned your head and saw Xia Xiao and Meng Meng. Both of them were looking at you with warm eyes. Your face blushed, unusually. Then you stroked the strings. Today, Dad is composing a song just for Meng Meng. Dad will sing it once for Meng Meng first. Next time, Dad will sing a line. And Meng Meng will sing a line after me, okay? Meng Meng happily nods. Her little face is full of anticipation. This song is called Courage Burst. Meng Meng, listen carefully. After I finish, you gently strum the strings. A light and cheerful melody then filled the living room. Meng Meng's sense of rhythm was surprisingly good. She bobbed her head and swayed gently to the music. You unconsciously started swaying your body along with the little one. Watching this father-daughter pair moving in unison, Xia Xiao's expression softened gradually. A smile slowly appeared on her face. She even joined your rhythm. For the first time, the whole family was immersed in a sea of joy. At that moment, even the living room brightened up. Following the music, Meng Meng clenched her little fist, and made a charging Superman gesture. You also put down your guitar then, and did the gestures with the little one. Then, I gently touched Meng Meng's cute little nose with my finger. Meng Meng threw herself into your arms. Her 2 little short arms hugged your neck tightly. Daddy, Meng Meng likes you like this, Daddy. Please don't change back to the way you were before, okay? The soft, tender voice echoed in my ear. You slightly parted your lips. A mist suddenly filled your eyes. You held me tightly in your arms. Your face buried deeply in my clothes. Dad will never be like that again. Her voice was hoarse but firm. Xia Xiao couldn't see your expression at this moment. She was already in tears, but she had a smile on her face. She knew the old her would never appear again. Never again. You're the one who regained your composure first. Put the guitar beside you. Hold Meng Meng on your lap. Meng Meng, let's learn the song now. I'll sing a line. Will you sing a line with Dad, okay? Okay. Meng Meng readily agreed. The following time became a teaching session for the father and daughter. The whole morning, their singing echoed through the living room. Seeing them engrossed in learning the song, Xia Xiao silently prepared lunch. It was just that hers was clearly not as good as yours. This caused a stir at dinner time. Meng Meng said she'll always eat the meals Dad makes. This made Xia Xiao jealous, so she glared at the little thing. She felt even more resentful in her heart. The little ungrateful thing. She's been bought off after only 2 days. This family atmosphere makes you so comfortable. This is what a real family should look like. Meng Meng learned quickly. It only took her 3 days. She was able to sing the song, Courageous Explosion, completely. At Meng Meng's strong request, you also made a video of Meng Meng and posted it on Douyin. In the video, Meng Meng is wearing a pink princess dress, with a bow on her head. Her little body swayed to the music. She was adorable. Your face was beaming while you were filming. Xia Xiao was watching from the sidelines. I unintentionally saw your expression. I almost laughed myself sick. This was the first time she had seen you look like this. These 3 days, because of your good performance, Xia Xiao's relationship with him has eased considerably. No one expected. The song was still original, and still so good. Douyin headquarters. Xiao Li discovered this video immediately. After watching the entire video, he gave the biggest push without a second thought. Such a cute little dumpling. Such a beautiful song. Xiao Li had a doting smile on his face. His mouth stretched to both cheeks. Immediately after, Douyin's trending searches exploded again. The storm in my life hasn't completely settled yet, but the storm of courage has already begun to rise. The popularity of this video came even faster. In just one afternoon, the number of likes reached 5 million. The number of comments was even outrageously high. This also means that at night, you have to silence your phone again. Holding Meng Meng, sitting on the sofa, you tirelessly scroll through the comments section. The comments section is full of talented people. You can't stop scrolling. If I had a daughter like that, I wouldn't allow a single blonde hair within 100 miles. This is the comment with the most likes. Like father, like daughter. The father starts with a powerful opening using Forever Love. The daughter follows with a powerful performance of Courage, seamlessly connecting the two. Shouldn't mom appear in the next video? This is the comment with the most replies. The following Saturday, you just finished your morning run. You wipe your sweat and open the door to your home. You see Xia Jiao wearing her newly bought. She came out of the bathroom in a camisole nightgown. She had clearly just showered. She was drying her hair. Her pretty face was flushed from the heat. They stared at each other. A line of poetry suddenly popped into your head. Naturally beautiful, without artifice. A lotus emerging from clear water. This perfectly describes Xia Xiao at this moment. Seeing you staring at yourself like a silly goose. Xia Xiao subconsciously covered her chest. Her face gradually flushed. Even his earlobes were flushed. Clearly, they'd been married for over 2 years. Good morning. Xia Xiao tried to calm herself down. I greeted you, but her steps towards the bedroom involuntarily quickened. Morning, you replied simply. Xia Xiao didn't say anything else. She practically ran back to the bedroom. You smiled helplessly. You shook off the random thoughts in your head. Humming a tune, I walked into the bathroom. I took a shower, cooked dinner, and woke Meng Meng up. My daily routine. When you opened the bedroom door, Meng Meng was still fast asleep. Her little mouth was slightly open, sprawled across your big bed. After a few days of normal eating and sleeping, Meng Meng's complexion has improved a lot. She's still so thin, but her overall appearance has visibly improved. You sat by the bed and watched her for a while. I bent down and gently pinched the little one's nose. Meng Meng, time to wake up and eat. The little one lying in bed pouted slightly, slowly opening their eyes. When they saw you, the corners of her mouth couldn't stop rising. Then she slowly reached out her little arm, hugging your neck. Daddy. Her voice was childish and coquettish. You smiled. He reached out and picked her up. He walked out of the bedroom. He set her down on the stool in front of the sink. The little one has been washing her face and brushing her teeth by herself these past 2 days. You can help steady her. Squeeze the toothpaste and get the towel for her. Meng Meng is very smart. She learned this skill after only 2 days of teaching. Xia Xiao also came out of the bedroom at this time. Her long hair was also tied up high behind her. It was styled into a small bun. This look of Xia Xiao will surely catch your eye. He nodded subtly. This is the vitality a person in their 20s should have. It's just that she's too thin. She would definitely look better if she were a bit plumper. Xia Xiao was still a little nervous. Her cheeks flushed slightly. This is the first time she's dressed like this at home. I wonder if it looks good. She looked up and saw you still taking care of Meng Meng. She walked to the dining table and sat down without making a sound. His eyes seemed to light up just now. That must mean it looks good then. Wait, why should I care what he thinks? Xia Jiao angrily puffed out her cheeks. She absent-mindedly stirred her chopsticks in her bowl. She was angry at her own weakness. You also sat down at this time, holding the washed Meng Meng. She called out, Mama, sweetly. Then she picked up her own special little spoon, scooping up the golden millet porridge in front of her. Can you go out with us today? You, who were busy enjoying the delicious food, suddenly heard Xia Jiao's words. I looked up at Xia Xiao, who looked puzzled. Xia Xiao nodded without looking at me, but her earlobes were already flushed crimson. Okay, you agreed very readily. On the road, you hailed a taxi. You're going to Yida Plaza in the city center today. Xia Xiao is meeting her former assistant, Taleli, at a milk tea shop there. The reason I'm bringing you and Meng Meng is simply because Taleli wants to see the little one, and the little one has been your shadow these past 2 days. I'm inseparable from you, so you're purely benefiting from the little guy. After 2 years, she can finally see Sister Xiao again. Taleli is very excited. She bought several cups of milk tea in advance. Sitting in her seat, she kept staring at the entrance of the milk tea shop. Tao Lulu and Xia Xiao had worked together for a year and a half. They were like sisters. Xia Xiao was really good to her. It's just a pity. Afterward, Xia Xiao was with you. She couldn't understand why Sister Xiao insisted on being with that good-for-nothing man. She couldn't make sense of it and even tried to persuade her. But back then, Xia Xiao seemed to have made up her mind. She wouldn't listen to any advice. Itao Lele's mind was racing with thoughts. Suddenly, she saw that familiar figure. He was holding a small child, who was bouncing and skipping, entering the store. Her eyes lit up. She abruptly stood up and waved her hands. Sister Xiao, here. Xia Jiao heard a sound. She looked up and saw Tao Luli's waving hand. A smile spread across her face. Lulu really hasn't changed. She was as lively and cheerful as ever. She walked closer. In their eyes, besides joy, there was a hint of moisture. Long-separated sisters meeting again. They could barely contain their emotions. Taleli carefully examined Xia Xiao. Her eyes were even redder. She grabbed Xia Xiao's hand. Her lower lip trembled. Xiao, you've lost so much weight. Was that man unkind to you? Where is he? I'll help you teach him a lesson. Xia Xiao pursed her lips and shook her head. She sat down with Taleli. Then she sat down with Meng Meng in her arms. Only then did she speak. Lele, don't worry. He's treating me quite well now. And you? After I left, has your work been going smoothly? I'm doing well too. Xiao Jie, you don't know how much I've missed you. The two inquired about each other's well-being. After chatting for a while, Tao Lulu finally turned her attention to the little one. The little one has been quietly sitting by the side just now. Duo Lele was too busy catching up with Xia Yao. She didn't pay much attention to her. Now, looking closely, her eyes immediately lit up. She looked so much like Sister Xiao. They're like 2 peas in a pod. Especially those bright, lively eyes. You instantly fall in love with this little one. Zio Jie, is this Meng Meng? She looks just like you. So cute. Tao Lulu said this as she left her seat. She crouched down in front of the little one. She reached out and touched the little one's face. Then her brows furrowed slightly again. The little one is just like Xiao Jie. They're all so thin. Taleli was incredibly angry now. She was certain that worthless man was definitely not good for Xiao and the child. The angrier she got, the angrier she became. She was dying to confront that man face to face. So she lifted her head and looked at Xia Xiao. Sister Xiao, didn't you say he would come too? Where is he? Xia Xiao could also sense the hostility from Lulu towards you. She just didn't know what to say. She could only give an awkward smile. Meng Meng wants ice cream. He went to queue for ice cream for the child. Tao Lulu naturally noticed the expression on Xia Xiao's face. She became even angrier. Her older sister, Xiao, had always been gentle and aloof. Now, that gentleness and aloofness were tinged with timidity. She could feel it. Afraid of frightening the child, Tao Lulu could only let out a cold snort. Return to your seat. But secretly, I'm gnashing my teeth, wanting to kill you. Sister Xiao. Tao Lulu was about to speak but suddenly stopped. Her eyes gradually sharpened, looking towards the entrance of the milk tea shop. Xia Xiao was stunned. Her expression became even more awkward. She thought it was your arrival that caused Loli's hostility. She was about to turn around to look. A slightly shrill voice sounded from behind her. Tao Lulu, do you still have time for milk tea? Have you finished the work I assigned you? Lu Qian, will you ever stop? It's my day off today. Tao Lulu looked unwell. She stared at the speaker like a puffed-up kitten. Xia Xiao turned around. Only then did she see that the person was Lu Qian. Xia Xiao was slightly stunned. She was the rising star from the same company as ZC. She was also following the path of a powerhouse singer. Isn't this Xiao? Xiao isn't at home diligently taking care of her husband and children. What are you doing out here looking for fun? Lu Qian's eyes held a smile, but her words were full of sarcasm. Xia Xiao hadn't said anything yet. Taleli beside me got angry first. Lu Qian, mind your own business. It's not a workday now. Stop being sarcastic. Sister Xiao, let's go. There's a mad dog barking here. It'll only affect our mood. After saying this, Taleli picked up Meng Meng, and, holding Xia Xiao's hand, was about to leave. But Lu Qian stepped in front of them first. Her eyes were somewhat gloomy. She looked at Xia Xiao, her eyebrows slightly raised, and then smiled. Sister Xiao, you've gotten so thin. Are things not going well? If things aren't going well, tell your little sister. I can still afford to be generous. Who can blame me for being so kind-hearted? Look at Lele. He's now working under me as a handyman. Isn't this a pretty good outcome? Don't you agree? Lulu. Luli's face was ashen. She stared at Lu Qian without speaking. Xia Xiao suddenly turned her head. She looked at Lulu. Her eyes were full of disbelief. You know, doing odd jobs is just about brute strength. How could the company let Lulu do this? But clearly, this isn't the time to ask questions. Xia Xiao turned her head. The look she gave Lu Qian was filled with anger, but she was just about to speak. Lily spoke first. My contract with the company expires at the end of the month. I will naturally resign then. I just hope that someone won't fall the harder the higher they climb. If Xia Xiao makes a comeback, someone must be terrified even in their dreams. Lu Qian was startled by this. She did have some lingering fear of Xia Xiao. During that time, who knew her? But Lu Qian quickly smiled. She looked at Xia Xiao with a contemptuous gaze. Come back. That's the best joke I've ever heard. What company would dare sign a washed-up celebrity with a child? Speaking of children, Xia Xiao, your child is quite good-looking. You could consider cultivating her into the next generation of popular young actresses. Lu Qian spoke with a face full of disdain. She even went so far as to want to pinch Mengmeng's cute little face. Stop. Take your filthy hands off me. I swear, if you so much as touch her, you'll be crying and nowhere to hide. Two voices rang out simultaneously. One belonged to Xia Xiao. Another deep male voice came from you. Your eyes held a fierce glint. He quickly walked to Xia Xiao. He handed the ice cream to the three of them. Then, he faced Lu Qian. He shielded Xia Xiao and Mengmeng behind him. Lu Qian was startled. Her body involuntarily took 2 steps back. When you're angry, you give off a strong sense of pressure. But she composed herself. When she looked at you carefully, she suddenly smiled. So it's this little brat. Useless trash. I wondered who it was. Turns out it's you. What? Do you still want to hit me in a public place? You frown. You turn to look at Xia Xiao. Your eyes show questioning. Clearly asking where this shrew of a Xia Xiao came from. She's a singer from my old company. I didn't expect to run into her here either. Others may not be afraid of you when you're angry, but Xia Xiao is somewhat afraid. Seeing you looking at her, she lowered her head slightly. Seeing Xia Xiao like this, you furrowed your brows even tighter. My heart was relieved. I didn't ask Xia Xiao any more questions. Turning my head, I looked down at Lu Qian. Singer. I'm sorry, but I haven't heard of you, and I don't know you. I only know that a good dog doesn't block the way. Please move. You're saying this very seriously. Hearing this, Lu Qian's voice became even sharper. You should know your place. Do you think I don't know? You've been constantly buttering up Gao Cheng and Su Bin from the Flower Boy Band. Constantly treating them to drinks. Now you're putting on a big act in front of me. Gao Cheng, Su Bin. Think carefully about those two names. I finally remembered who those two are. They're members of the boy band the original owner was in. After retiring from the entertainment industry, the original owner wanted to debut again. He did often treat them to drinks, trying to curry favor with them. But they completely ignored him. I'm not familiar with the two people you're talking about. If you keep pestering me like this, don't blame me for calling security. Lu Qian shot you a harsh glance, but still obediently stepped aside. You pulled up Xia Xiao behind you. He then gestured for Tao Lulu to follow. He walked straight outside, but as he passed Lu Qian suddenly spoke to Xia Xiao. It's a pity. Someone won't be able to sing anymore. Xia Xiao, my new song will be released at the end of this month. After saying that, Lu Qian laughed happily. You, Xia Xiao, how can you compare with me? Lu Qian's flippant voice echoed in everyone's ears. Tao Lulu wished she could slap her right now. She clearly knows that Sister Xiao loves to sing, but now she can't sing. The way she said that, it's simply heart-wrenching. You paused in your steps, and gave Lu Qian a deep look. Then, he continued walking outward with a blank expression. Xia Xiao didn't speak. She only gently pursed her lips. However, at this time, a childish voice suddenly rang out. The voice was clear and firm. Mommy's singing is better than yours. You're a bad auntie. Everyone was stunned. No one expected the little one to speak up for her mother at this moment. You just froze for a second. Then you smiled and gently rubbed the little one's head. Amazing. She really is my daughter. I was a little angry at first, but the moment Mengmeng spoke, my anger vanished into thin air. I didn't pay attention to Lu Qian's reaction. Several people left that place of trouble. The group arrived at a restaurant. Xia Xiao and Tao Lulu chatted. They had been walking for a while. She had some worries but hadn't asked about them. Now they were finally seated. There are no outsiders around. She held Taleli's hand. Finally, she asked the question she had been wanting to ask. Liu, why are you working for Lu Qian? And Yunjia too? What is she doing now? Yunjia was Xia Xiao's previous agent. She's almost 40 years old. She always treated her well, like a daughter. Hearing Xia Xiao's question, Taleli's dejection was evident. After you left, Sister Yun was dismissed not long after. She looked for a job for a long time but couldn't find one. Later, her mother fell ill and was hospitalized. She needed to stay at the hospital to take care of her mother. She only found a nanny job. Xia Xiao never imagined that she would now fall to such a state. A faint sense of shame washed over her. She vaguely recalled Sister Yun, working with such efficiency and decisiveness. Both fell silent. Xia Jiao pursed her lips. She knew it was all her fault. If it weren't for her stubbornness, Yun Jia wouldn't be like this. She had defied the company's orders so many times for her own sake. When you're promising, the company naturally won't say anything. After you just up and quit. It's easy to imagine what kind of treatment Sister Yun will face. The atmosphere was rather heavy. After they hastily finished their meal, Tao Lula chatted with Xia Xiao for a while longer. Then she hurried away. Xia Xiao remained in low spirits. But she didn't even feel like playing anymore. You could naturally sense her mood, wanting to say something, but I didn't say it in the end. Actually, you don't understand either. Why Xia Xiao was like she was drugged, and wanted to marry herself back then. The original owner didn't know. You don't know either. Xia Xiao wanted to go home. She wanted some time alone, but when she saw Meng Meng's expectant look, she felt a pang of guilt. To avoid disappointing Meng Meng, in the end, the family of 3 went to the amusement park. The little one is so happy. It's her first time at an amusement park. Pulling your hand, she's eager to rush in. Xia Xiao managed to perk up a little at this moment. She didn't want Meng Meng to later recall her first amusement park trip. I am sad. My family was the first to try the carousel. Then we played a few more games. Unknowingly, the sky grew dark. The amusement park lit up with colorful lights. The last ride was the Ferris wheel, waiting for you to hold Meng Meng. When you and Xia Xiao opened the door and sat inside, Meng Meng was already asleep in your arms. The Ferris wheel slowly ascended. The buildings on the ground, glittering with 7 colors of light, gradually shrank. What you didn't know was, Xia Xiao was also experiencing an amusement park for the first time. This was her first time riding a Ferris wheel, too. Her almond-shaped eyes curiously gazed out of the cabin. Her eyes sparkled. She looked out the window. You looked at her. Perhaps she sensed your gaze. Her earlobe slowly turned red. She shot you a coquettish glance. It was the first time you had seen such a look. You couldn't quite handle it. The lights from the Ferris wheel illuminated her thin face. You suddenly feel a bit dazzled. The Ferris wheel is still slowly rising. In the next moment, fireworks erupted almost simultaneously from all directions within the castle. At the moment the fireworks burst, you clearly see Xia Xiao's face lit up with a breathtaking smile. It was a smile from the heart. You were quite captivated. The Ferris wheel slowly reached its highest point at that moment. The fireworks became even clearer. Xia Xiao's pretty face became even more captivating. You don't have to be afraid like before. Your voice is a little soft amidst the fireworks. Xia Xiao didn't hear clearly. She turned her face to look at you with a question. You didn't look at her. You continued to watch the gorgeous fireworks in the sky. You're too gentle. That's not good. You'll be bullied. You don't have to be afraid like before. I know. Do you want to sing? I know too. You have a lot you want to do. Go ahead. I'll take care of Meng Meng. Xia Xiao didn't respond. Turn around. I saw 2 lines of tears on her face. She pursed her lips. Her eyes, warm and yet not warm, looked at you. The intense grievance and complexity in her gaze seemed to engulf you. You immediately tensed up. I don't understand. Why are you suddenly crying? Who are you? Xia Xiao has been staring at you intently. Her beautiful eyes are already filled with tears. Her clear voice is soft, but in your heart, it echoed so loudly. You were silent. The air gradually fell silent. It seemed even the sound of the fireworks had disappeared. After a long while, you finally smiled gently at her. Then his voice suddenly became hoarse. I'm Gu Xingyi. Xia Xiao continued to look at you. Your smile made her heart beat suddenly faster. Like a startled deer. Your answer was even more unexpected to her. She looked into your clear, bright eyes. Tears suddenly fell faster. Hugging her knees, she buried her head and sobbed softly. Then she spoke. Yes, you are Gu Xingyi. If it wasn't him, then who else could it be? Let me tell you a cliché story. There was a little girl in an orphanage a long time ago. She was very timid, but there was always a boy in the orphanage, a year older than her, who protected her. One day, she was bullied by a group of boys. Her older brother shielded her. He never let her get hurt. But he himself was covered in wounds. In her eyes at that time, her older brother, 1 year older than her, was her everything. But after that, my brother disappeared. Until later, she grew up, and saw that brother again. She also got her wish and married him. You were speechless after hearing it. Now, you finally understand some things. Xia Xiao lifted her head. Her eyes were blurry with tears. She looked so lonely and pitiful. She finally revealed her deepest secret. No one understands her stubbornness. Everyone thinks she's not worth it. Only she herself believes she is worthy. But the result was so terrible. She has regretted it countless times. Until you appeared. She asked who he was. He said he was Gu Xingyi. That's enough. Your eyes are full of tenderness. I suddenly understand Xia Jiao's feelings. Seeing the gentleness and affection in your eyes, Xia Xiao could no longer hold back. She threw herself directly into your arms. She vied with Meng Meng for a place in your embrace. She sobbed softly. Meng Meng was awakened. With blurry eyes, she looked on in confusion. His own mother took his own place. The little guy just froze for a moment. Then, overjoyed, he held onto his dad with one hand and his mom with the other. He gave 2 loud kisses on their cheeks. Today was the best day of Meng Meng's life. He looked at the beautiful woman and child in his arms. He suddenly burst into laughter. Life is heading in a good direction. That's enough, but I need to make some changes. The fireworks gradually ended. The Ferris wheel slowly descended to the ground. Xia Xiao, carrying Meng Meng, walked ahead. You follow behind. Watching Xia Xiao striding swiftly, he touched his nose. After getting off the Ferris wheel, it felt like in an instant you returned to your previous indifferent attitude towards me. Xia Xiao was very nervous. Even her grip on Meng Meng's hand was tight. She felt her ears and cheeks burning. Just now, I actually stayed in your arms for so long. She was still rubbing against him like a little girl. This is killing me. He must be secretly laughing at me. When we just got off the Ferris wheel, she saw the hidden amusement on that man's face. Thinking about it, Xia Xiao quickened her pace. It was almost like a race walk. You wouldn't believe how suddenly energetic this woman became. You had to jog just to keep up with her. Until they reached the amusement park gates, Xia Xiao showed no sign of stopping. You have to stop her. Hey, or are you planning to walk home? Just hail a cab here. Xia Xiao finally stopped, standing by the roadside, but not looking at you. She felt even more certain that you were laughing at her behind her back. It was awful, even more embarrassing. I waited a long time. You finally hailed a taxi. That's what first gave you the idea of buying a car. The taxi came to a smooth stop at the entrance of the residential area. You paid the fare. Carrying Meng Meng, you stepped off the car quietly. You returned home. You carried Meng Meng back to the room and settled her. Then you quickly walked to the bedroom. You got into bed and soon fell asleep. In contrast to your sound sleep, Xia Xiao tossed and turned, lying in bed. As soon as she closed her eyes, scenes from the amusement park today involuntarily surfaced in her mind. Xia Xiao angrily pulled the blanket over herself. She covered her face, trying to force herself to sleep, but her constantly fluttering eyelashes constantly betrayed her, showing just how restless she was. 6 a.m. You woke up on time as usual. You went for a morning run, washed up, made breakfast, and woke Meng Meng up, a smooth, efficient process. But Xia Liao didn't come out of her room. Looking at the closed master bedroom door, you scratched your head. It seems you really did get back quite late last night. She's still asleep. You didn't even think of waking her up. Just leave her some breakfast. After you've eaten, wash and put away the dishes. When you come out of the kitchen, Xia Xiao will have woken up. She walked through the living room, her face slightly flushed. She went to the bathroom to wash up. Do you want to continue singing? Hearing your voice, Xia Xiao was slightly startled. She didn't react for a long time. You leaned against the bathroom doorframe, holding your phone, quietly waiting for her reply. A moment later, her soft voice sounded in his ear. Think, just one word. No further answers. In Xia Xiao's heart, life now is a life she wouldn't have dared to imagine 2 years ago. Singing is a distant dream, one she can only bury in her heart. You didn't ask again, just nodded, then took the phone back to the bedroom. Opened Douyin, checking the private messages in the backstage. Your backstage private messages have already exploded. Ever since the first video was posted, you just skimmed through it. You haven't looked at it since. Now, it's difficult to search through it again, but you continue scrolling quietly, patiently filtering through one by one. Finally, your eyes suddenly light up. Then you opened one of the private messages. You looked at the content of the private message. Your fingers unconsciously tapped the screen. You were considering some things. Originally, your purpose in making videos was just to make money. Then you would retire. But after yesterday, you've changed your mind. The private message was simple. Inhai Entertainment sincerely invites you to join our team. With your musical talent, we will, as quickly as possible, will make you a top-tier superstar. Inhai Entertainment's contact information is at the end of the private message. Inhai Entertainment is one of the 3 giants of China's entertainment companies. Douyin, the platform in this world, is a subsidiary of Inhai Entertainment. I just thought about it for a moment. Then you hesitated no longer. You entered the contact number for Inhai Entertainment. You dialed. The phone was answered after only a few rings. A mature woman's voice came through the receiver. Hello. Excuse me, who is this? Hello. My Douyin account name is Xing Yao. I received a private message invitation from your company. Would you be available to chat now? At this moment, at Douyin headquarters, far away in Shanghai, Yang Yonglin received a call. Her expression slightly froze. She didn't expect that this creator, named Xing Yao, would actually call her Xiao Xiang. After all, several days had passed since she sent a private message inviting him. She thought he wouldn't be involved in the entertainment industry. Hello, are you still there? A pleasant male voice came from the other end of the phone. Yang Yonglin suddenly realized. A smile began to appear on her face. It's important to note that she was not only the director of the Douyin Operations Department, but also the deputy director of the Human Resources and Administration Department at Inhai Entertainment. As the director of Douyin, she could quickly access and discover new talents like Xiao Meng. And that's exactly what happened. Xing Yao called me. You know, these past few days, the hottest person online is undoubtedly this mysterious figure. Hello, Mr. Xing Yao. I'm Yang Yonglin, Deputy Director of the Human Resources and Administration Department at Inhai Entertainment. Now I have time. May I ask if you'd like to join our Inhai Entertainment? Yang Yonglin was secretly delighted, Xiao Lian, but she still replied quickly. However, Gu Xingyi's reply left Yang Yonglin stunned. Hello, Minister Yang. Excuse me, I currently have no intention of getting involved in the entertainment industry, but I'd like to recommend a singer to you. I wonder if your company has any interest. It's not him, surprisingly. He just came to recommend someone. Yang Yonglin couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. She shook her head with a wry smile. What she wanted was Xing Yao, someone who already has fame. Xiao Lian, the one whose 2 songs became viral sensations. Mr. Xing Yao, it's like this. I'm just a deputy director. If you were to come, given your reputation, I could absolutely decide on my own. But if it's someone else, Xiaomeng, I'm afraid I don't have the right to directly agree to your request, even if I'm a little reluctant. Xiaomeng, Yang Yonglin earnestly explained to Gu Xingyi, I can assure you, she's a very talented singer, Xiao Li, and I will write a song for her. Also, if your company needs songs in the future, I can be a musician for your Inhai Entertainment, but there will definitely be conditions. Don't let just anyone come to me asking for songs. I won't write anything I look down on, if you agree. Xiao Li, we can discuss the details later. What do you think? On the other end of the phone, Gu Xingyi said, speaking calmly in a calm tone. Yang Yonglin gradually fell silent. Her mind raced at that moment. She pondered the benefits involved. A moment later, Yang Yonglin admitted, she was tempted, but it's not her one-woman show. She still has to report to her superiors. Mr. Xing Yao, this isn't something I can decide alone. Is this alright? I'll discuss it with the company. I'll get back to you. Whether it works out or not, I'll reply to you as soon as possible. Okay, then I'll look forward to your reply. The call ended. Yang Yonglin didn't hesitate. She picked up her phone. She hurried out, pushing open the door. As for Gu Xingyi, he put down his phone. He pondered for a moment. I've decided to wait for their reply. After all, Inhai Entertainment is one of the 3 giants in China. It's a much higher starting point than other companies. If this doesn't work out, he'll find a way to contact another company. This will be one thing off his mind. Gu Xingyi let out a sigh of relief. He opened the door to the master bedroom and came out. Xia Mengmeng was already playing with her toys obediently. She was muttering something under her breath. Xia Xiao was already awake. She was sitting at the dining table, eating. She heard the door open. She looked up at Gu Xingyi. Then she pretended to nonchalantly continue eating. But the blush on her face was clearly visible to Gu Xingyi. And those panda eyes. Who knows what she was thinking about last night? I can't sleep. Gu Xingyi is even more frustrated. I wonder what she's shy about. He didn't tell Xia Xiaoyao about the entertainment company. It's not a done deal yet. It's no use telling her now. He didn't look at her again. Gu Xingyi continued to sit back on the sofa to keep Xiao Mengmeng company. What surprised Gu Xingyi was, the little one could actually count from 1 to 10 completely. Before yesterday, she would still forget 1 or 2 numbers in between. I went out all day yesterday. Today, little Mengmeng only played by herself for a little while. She was actually able to do this. This discovery made Gu Xingyi very happy. He was also very proud. It only took him about a week. Let Xia Mengmeng successfully be indistinguishable from other 3-year-olds. Could it be that I'm naturally suited to be a father? Gu Xingyi thought proudly. Just as Gu Xingyi was becoming self-satisfied, the door was suddenly knocked on. Gu Xingyi, hearing the sound, looked at Xia Xiao questioningly. But he found Xia Xiao looking back at him with the same puzzled expression. This made Gu Xingyi even more confused. He and Xia Xiao were both orphans. Their home hadn't had a visitor in ages. Who could it be? The door kept knocking, and it was getting louder. It was obvious that the person outside wasn't getting a response, so they started knocking harder. Gu Xingyi frowned. This person is so rude. Just because no one answered for a moment, you use that much force. Gu Xingyi didn't wait any longer. His face was slightly cold. He got up and quickly walked towards the door. But unexpectedly, someone outside suddenly shouted, Xiao Gu, open the door. I know you're home. It's Gao Gu. Don't you text us every day asking us out for drinks? Look, we're here. And me, Brother Su, open the door quickly. Hearing those 2 vile voices, Gu Xingyi's face turned completely black. Xia Xiaoyao's face changed drastically, frowning and looking towards the door with disgust. Xia Mengmeng had already put down her toys. She ran to Xia Xiao. The violent knocking startled her. Gu Xingyi saw this scene when he turned his head. His face darkened even more, even with a hint of anger. Damn it. She spent so many days coaxing her little darling before she finally calmed down. Those 2 actually dared to scare her like that. Unforgivable. Gu Xingyi opened the door. What met his eyes were Gao Cheng and Su Bin, members of his former boy band. They had sly smiles on their faces, trying to peek past Gu Xingyi into the room, but Gu Xingyi completely blocked their view inside. Little Gu, why did you open the door so late? Don't you welcome us? Seeing their faces, Gu Xingyi really wanted to punch them in the face. Both of them are older than Gu Xingyi, but when they were in a group before, usually, they both call him Brother Gu. It's all because the original owner was the visual ace of a former boy band. Back then, the original owner was the most popular. That's why he led the boy band to debut. When Gu Xingyi and Xia Xiao were dating, they were all incredibly envious. But later, when they both quit the entertainment industry, and became unknown, their true colors showed. They constantly sneered, calling him Little Gu. The original owner even wanted to curry favor with such people. How ridiculous. Gu Xingyi isn't like the original body, that big fool. Naturally, he wouldn't give them a good face. You know that, yet you still ask. You two aren't welcome here. Get out of here. Gu Xingyi gets angry just seeing those two. He had his eyes closed. His expression was cold. He looked like he wanted to keep people at arm's length. Gao Cheng on the right, however, put on a fawning smile. He stepped forward. Xiao Gu is in a bad mood today. Weren't you always wanting to see us? We're here now, why are you acting like this? I understand. Haven't you been drinking? Come, come. Gao Gu, keep him company and have a couple of drinks with him before we talk. If it were the old Gu Xingyi, he would have happily welcomed them in for drinks. But he isn't. Gu Xingyi closed the door behind him, dodging Gao Cheng's outstretched hand. His expression remains indifferent. I've quit drinking. I won't drink again. Also, I don't want to see you anymore. Don't come looking for me again. Gao Cheng stopped in his tracks. He stared at Gu Xingyi. Then he turned and exchanged a glance with Su Bin. Both of them laughed. Xiaobin, did I hear that correctly? He said he didn't want to see us. Gao Cheng adjusted his glasses. He put on an expression of disbelief. Su Bin smiled as well. Brother Gao, you didn't hear wrong. They're giving me the boot. Wow, that's intense. Sister Qian was right after all. Someone's lost their mind. He still thinks he's as glorious as before. Gao Cheng's face instantly changed. His face turned cold. What? What's with your face? Remember how you begged us before? Gu Xingyi looked at the two clowns before him, speechless. They're putting on a Sichuan opera face-changing act here. And they're even doing the call and response thing. Being an idol star is such a waste of their talent. They should be performing crosstalk. Gu Xingyi subconsciously glanced at the closed bedroom door. He thought about Meng Meng and Xia Xiao still being at home. Arguing here will scare their mother and then. He put a hand on Gao Cheng's shoulder. He gestured for him to leave. Go. Let's talk outside. He finished. Before Gao Cheng and the other could react, he grabbed one with each hand and pulled them towards the front. When Gao Cheng and Su Bin finally reacted, and angrily tried to break free from Gu Xingyi's grasp, they found his strength was surprisingly great. No matter how hard they struggled, they couldn't break free from his hold. He walked out to the floor. In the residential complex corridor, Gu Xingyi finally released them. Go back where you came from. I don't want to say it again. Gao Cheng and Su Bin's faces were already flushed. They gave Qinjie their word. They didn't expect this. But Gu Xingyi's strength just now scared them. They hesitated for a moment, afraid to act rashly. Don't you want to know why we're looking for you? Gao Cheng finished. Su Bin seemed afraid Gu Xingyi would refuse again. He quickly continued Gao Cheng's words. We're here to invite you back to the boy band. Haven't you always wanted to come back? Gu Xingyi looked at them sideways. He wanted to hear what dirty tricks they were up to. Gao Cheng and Su Bin saw that Gu Xingyi seemed somewhat moved. The two exchanged a glance. A hint of smugness appeared in their eyes. It was as if they were saying, see. He swayed. Gao Cheng returned to his previous arrogant demeanor. He looked at Gu Xingyi disdainfully and said, haven't you always wanted to come back? You even said that Xia Xiao ruined your career. Now we can help you return. But, you have to divorce Xia Xiao. How is it? Easy, right? Gu Xingyi still glanced sideways. Are these two people treating me like an idiot? Finished? If you're finished, scram. Seeing you two is such bad luck. I'm about to throw up my breakfast. Gu Xingyi, don't push your luck. It's you who are pushing your luck. Gu Xingyi isn't backing down. He directly responded. The two of them have been living in a world of food and drink for years. After a week of training, his body had noticeably improved, and he wasn't sure if it was due to the transmigration, but he felt that his strength was greater than in his previous life. Watching the two of them blush, looking like they want to make a move but dare not, Gu Xingyi reached out and patted Gao Cheng on the shoulder, giving him a fright. I know why you're here. Go back and tell your master to stop trying to frame Xia Xiao. Otherwise, Gu Xingyi finished speaking, and ignored the two idiots. He turned and walked back. Watching Gu Xingyi's departing back, Gao Cheng and Su Bin's faces were a mixture of red and blue, eyes fixed on him. I thought it would be a piece of cake. Didn't expect to mess it up. The two of us took a bribe, you know. Su Bin was still a little unwilling. Gao Gu, just let him go. Gao Cheng winced and rubbed the shoulder Gu Xingyi had slapped. He retorted, annoyed. What else could I do? It's strange. It's like you've suddenly become a different person. So strong. Let's go back. Since things didn't go as planned, we'll just have to think of other ways later. Su Bin let out a sigh of frustration. The two turned and left. Gu Xingyi, on the other hand, returned home with a light and quick step. When his little treasures saw him, they all breathed a sigh of relief. Their eyes held a look of relaxation. Xia Mengmeng was still in Xia Xiao's arms. He didn't continue playing games. His big, dark eyes were fixed on Gu Xingyi's face. Until he saw that familiar smile, the little guy left his mother's arms, and rushed to hug his father's legs. Xia Xiao did too. I haven't finished eating yet. Sitting at the table, she looked at Gu Xingyi with a questioning expression. They're gone. They've been sent away. They won't be coming back. Gu Xingyi said lightly. She reached out, picked up Xia Mengmeng, and sat down on the sofa. She watched Gu Xingyi nonchalantly, playing with Xia Mengmeng's toys. Xia Xiao then turned around and continued eating. The family restored its previous warmth. The little episode was quickly forgotten by the three of them. Unlike Gu Xingyi over there, Gao Cheng and Su Bin were suffering terribly. They had just been humiliated by Gu Xingyi, and then were thoroughly humiliated by Lu Qian. The two of them had guaranteed they could persuade Gu Xingyi, but they didn't expect to be driven away directly. This made the two of them hate Gu Xingyi even more. In the evening, the sun set, and it gradually cooled down outside. Xia Xiao changed her clothes. She took Xiao Mengmeng out to buy groceries. Gu Xingyi, who was home alone, had just picked up his phone to browse Douyin. He happened to receive a call from Yang Yonglin. The call was just connected. A pleasant, authoritative voice immediately came through. Mr. Xingyao, is it you? It's me. Gu Xingyi finished replying. A voice immediately came from the receiver again. Mr. Xingyao, we've already discussed it. You can recommend people to join the company. But, what I mean is, you currently only have 2 songs. And one of them is a children's song. Don't get me wrong. Both songs are very good, but they still want to test your composing skills. Would that be alright? Sure enough, based on only 2 songs, the other party doesn't believe in Zishang's abilities. Gu Xingyi didn't think much of it. He can understand. Capitalism is always about profit first. He certainly won't just let him join the company based on 2 songs. He'll just let him join the company, will he? Composing, right? Possible. Gu Xingyi's answer was simple and clear. His mind held the culture of a whole world. Naturally, he wasn't afraid of the questions his opponent posed. Yang Yonglin's heart had been quite uneasy, but hearing Xingyao's so straightforward acceptance, a sense of relief welled up in her heart. She's been running around about this for a long time today. She really likes the 2 songs he wrote. She believes in Xingyao's talent, but those above still have some doubts. After all, nobody knows how long he took to write those 2 songs. Maybe she prepared them for a very, very long time, only releasing these 2 songs at the same time. Actually, Yang Yonglin was also a little uneasy inside. She was a little worried. But in the end, she still chose to trust her own judgment. To be able to produce 2 songs with such courage and with you in my life, she felt the other person must be quite good. Finally, the company agreed to give Xingyao a chance. It just so happened that Huayin recently gave several entertainment companies a difficult problem. They recently invited many songwriters because of this problem. Unfortunately, none of them were satisfactory. They were all passed over. If Xingyao can solve this problem, the company will never doubt him again. Mr. Xingyao, shall we discuss the details in person? We still need you to come here. Performing on-the-spot songwriting and composition. Yang Yonglin said sincerely. She also wanted to meet this mysterious person. What she actually looks like. She doesn't even show her face in the videos. Gu Xingyi thought for a moment. At home, he doesn't do much besides taking care of the kids. So he readily agreed. Okay. What time? Where? Shanghai. If possible. It's best to come tomorrow. After all, the sooner the better for you. It will better demonstrate your value. Hearing Yang Yonglin say this, Gu Xingyi's impression of this mature woman unconsciously improved. After all, few people would consider others so much. Most people would prioritize the company's interests. Okay. Then tomorrow. Seeing Xingyao agree so readily, Yang Yonglin also let out a deep sigh of relief. Then his tone noticeably lightened. Then set a specific time. Text me and let me know. This is the number. I'll be there on time tomorrow to pick you up. Okay. Then let's contact by text. Goodbye. Gu Xingyi agreed. He hung up the phone. Then he started looking into flights to Shanghai. Finally, he booked a ticket for 10 a.m. tomorrow. He texted Yang Yonglin about the time. Gu Xingyi closed his eyes and rested. He seemed not to worry about the upcoming challenges at all. A moment later, Gu Xingyi fell fast asleep. Xia Xiao returned with Xiao Mengmeng. She saw Gu Xingyi fast asleep. She quickly put her finger to her lips. She gently shushed little Mengmeng. Little Mengmeng, with her big, warm eyes, also shushed Xia Xiao. Mother and daughter were in perfect sync. They exchanged a smile. Xia Xiao quietly entered the kitchen carrying groceries. Little Mengmeng walked to the sofa. She gently nestled into Gu Xingyi's arms. In his dream, Gu Xingyi only felt that there was a little cat constantly rubbing against his face. Those soft little paws rubbed against my face. It felt so comfortable. Suddenly, the kitten covered its nose with its two little paws. Gu Xingyi was a little breathless. He struggled a little. He woke up suddenly. Xia Mengmeng's cheerful laughter echoed in his ears. Gu Xingyi lowered his head. He then realized, it was his beloved daughter. Her soft little hand was pinching his nose. Dad, it's time to eat. Okay. Gu Xingyi smiled inwardly. He suddenly felt that this kind of life was pretty good. It's so much better than waking up alone every time in his past life. The aroma of the food wafted from the dining room. Gu Xingyi felt his stomach rumble. He looked up. On the table was a plate of small, crispy pork. There was also a plate of shredded potatoes and a bowl of tomato and egg soup. It looked very tempting. Xia Xiao emerged from the kitchen. She carried 2 bowls of rice. She glanced at Gu Xingyi. Softly, she said, seeing you hadn't woken up, I made some rice. It's not as delicious as yours, but I tasted it. It still tastes pretty good. Gu Xingyi scooped up Xia Mengmeng. He stood up. I think it's great. It looks delicious. I'm getting hungry just looking at it. I'll take Mengmeng to wash her hands first. I'll be right back. Hearing Gu Xingyi's praise, Xia Xiao felt a little shy. She nodded. Then she returned to the kitchen and brought a bowl of rice to the table. The family ate dinner. Gu Xingyi put a small piece of crispy pork into Mengmeng's bowl. Turning to Xia Xiao, he said, right. I need to go out tomorrow. I don't know when I'll be back yet. Xia Xiao was drinking soup. She suddenly heard Gu Xingyi's words. She choked on it. She couldn't stop coughing. Gu Xingyi quickly handed her some napkins. His face showed concern. Xia Xiao took the napkins. She turned away to wipe her mouth. Hearing Gu Xingyi suddenly say he was going out, she was indeed a little flustered. My instinctive reaction was that his sudden departure was connected to the 2 people who came to the door today. But now, thinking about it carefully, I don't think so. If it were, he should have invited them into his house today. After tidying up, Xia Xiao turned around. She didn't know whether she should ask Gu Xingyi where he was going. She felt inexplicably panicked. She, who had wanted to escape just a week ago, now felt anxious hearing that Gu Xingyi was going out. I subconsciously felt a little reluctant. Little Mengmeng still asked. She didn't know why her mother suddenly coughed, but she heard that her father was going out for a few days. Thinking that she wouldn't be able to see her father for several days, little Mengmeng felt a little down. Where is daddy going? Xia Mengmeng didn't even finish her favorite steamed egg custard. Her little mouth was pursed, her face full of reluctance. Daddy is going to find a job for mommy. That way, you'll be able to hear mommy sing often. Happy. Mengmeng is still young. She doesn't know what work is. In her memory, it seems her parents were always home, but she often heard her mother singing. So she was very happy. So happy, clapping her little hands. She has no idea right now. She won't be able to see mommy often in the future. I wonder if she'll still be this happy then. Mommy will sing to Mengmeng often, right? Yay. Gu Xingyi ruffled her little head. Then he looked at Xia Xiao. I'm sorry. I made the decision for you without asking your opinion. It's just that Mengmeng said you like singing. I thought you would probably like it. I hadn't finished things before, so I didn't tell you. Now another company has invited me for an interview. What if this works out? You can make a proper comeback. Go back to singing. In high entertainment. It should still be pretty good. He made himself sing. Xia Xiao subconsciously looked at him. Gu Xingyi was very serious. The 2 looked at each other. Xia Xiao's beautiful eyes suddenly clouded with moisture. Her eyes were slightly red-rimmed. Her beautiful eyes suddenly softened like water. This was a bit much for Gu Xingyi to handle. He lowered his head and ate. Xia Xiao didn't expect. I never thought I'd be able to sing again. And that this man would be the one to give me this opportunity. Thank you, Gu Xingyi. I love singing. I really, really love it. Xia Xiao spoke softly. Her voice grew firmer. She loves singing. And she also wants to help Lulu and Yun Jie get better. No longer to be bullied. Since meeting Tao Lulu, she's been worried about them. You're welcome. You like it. That's enough. Gu Xingyi looked up. A gentle smile. The following morning, after dinner, you guys should go back now. I'll probably be back in a day or 2 at most. Don't worry. Gu Xingyi hailed a taxi to K Airport. Turning around, he said to Xia Xiao. Xia Xiao nodded. There was a look of reluctance in her eyes. Just a short while ago she had wanted to escape him. Unexpectedly, in just a few days, she felt reluctant at his departure. Xia Mengmeng snuggled against Xia Xiao's thigh. She was even more reluctant to let Gu Xingyi go. Her little mouth was pursed high. The expression in her eyes was endearing. It made Gu Xingyi want to tie the little one to himself. Just go out for 2 days. Why are you acting like it's a farewell to death? Gu Xingyi steeled himself and stopped looking at her. He waved and turned to get into the taxi. The car drove away. The 2 figures in the rearview mirror gradually grew smaller. Gu Xingyi closed his eyes. He couldn't describe the feeling in his heart. This was the first time he traveled far and had someone see him off. 9:30. The car arrived at the airport. Gu Xingyi waited another 20 minutes. Only now am I boarding the flight to Shanghai. Shanghai, a place where land is incredibly expensive. Most entertainment companies have their headquarters here. People here are basically used to seeing celebrities. You might run into one or two while you're out shopping. There's a saying that's always circulating online. Shanghai, it's a place where celebrities are everywhere, and influencers are as common as dogs. 12:20 p.m. The plane arrived in Shanghai on time. Gu Xingyi had just gotten off the plane. He immediately felt the enthusiasm of Shanghai. Compared to Zhongqing, there were far too many people here. Following the surging crowd, Gu Xingyi moved his body with difficulty. I walked all the way to exit 5. Only then did I finally relax. Standing before the exit, Gu Xingyi looked at the large group of people holding up signs outside. He found the sign with his name on it. Before I came, he had made an appointment with Yang Yonglin. She would meet him at the exit. There were too many people holding up signs. Many of them were fans picking him up. This made it hard for Gu Xingyi to find her. He finally spotted a tall woman in a business suit. She's holding Xingyao's sign. She's definitely a strong, independent woman. It's true what they say, like a person, like their name. This woman and Xia Xiao are completely different styles. If Xia Xiao is gentle as water, then she is efficient and unrestrained. She exuded an intellectual beauty. Gu Xingyi quickly walked forward. He waved to her. Hello, are you Minister Yang? I'm Xingyao. His real name is Gu Xingyi. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Yang Yonglin looked at the person before her. A flicker of strangeness flashed in her eyes, but she hid it very well. Knowing that Gu Xingyi is young, but I didn't expect him to be so young. Like he just graduated from university, and he has a face that's perfectly suited to becoming a star. Yang Yonglin couldn't help but feel a little regret. If only I could sign him. Hello, I'm Yang Yonglin. I also just arrived not long ago. Mr. Xingyao is really young. Yang Yonglin had a professional smile on her face. Speaking, she gently shook hands with Gu Xingyi and then released it. Let's go this way. It's too crowded here. I parked my car in the underground parking lot. It's lunchtime now. Let's find a place to eat first, and then we can talk in detail. Okay. Gu Xingyi nodded. He walked out side by side with Yang Qinglin. Yang Hanlin was indeed a seasoned professional. She walked and chatted with Gu Xingyi to keep the conversation going. She had thought that Gu Xingyi, such a young man, wouldn't be very good at conversation. But after interacting with him, I found that the other party could actually keep up with my conversation and talk eloquently. Not at all like other young people who blindly admire. This made Yang Yonglin look up to him even more. Indeed, excellent people are popular everywhere. Gu Xingyi didn't know that Yang Yonglin had looked up to him again. If he knew, he'd be speechless. He has memories from 2 lifetimes, adding up to more than 50 years. If he doesn't even have that much emotional intelligence, he might as well just get a rope. The two of them got into the car. Gu Xingyi looked out the window at the bustling metropolis of Shanghai. Yang Yonglin occasionally introduced him to the local specialties. In a short while, they arrived at a characteristic restaurant. It wasn't very big, but they say it's authentic. The two sat down. Yang Yonglin finished ordering. While waiting for the food, she finally brought up the real reason. I'll just call you Mr. Gu. Mr. Gu, I don't know who you're recommending this time, an amateur or a professional singer. I wonder if Minister Yang has heard of Xia Xiao. She used to be a singer, but she retired from the industry later. Now it's considered a comeback. Speaking of business, Gu Xingyi's expression turned serious. Yang Yonglin frowned. She had heard Xia Xiao's songs from 2 years ago, when she was a rising star. Her singing is really good, but the reason she's frowning is that back then, Xia Xiao was forced to quit the entertainment industry because her relationship was exposed, and the person she was dating seemed to be a nobody, a small-time nobody. That's a very difficult situation to handle. Yang Yonglin pondered for a moment. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. Only then did she look intently at Gu Xingyi. I know her, but I don't know what your relationship with her is, Mr. Gu. Do you know why she quit the entertainment industry before? Gu Xingyi looked into Yang Yonglin's eyes. He said softly, wife. She is my wife. Even Yang Yonglin, a seasoned veteran, was stunned by Gu Xingyi's answer. Husband and wife. So it's that legendary little self-face guy. Are you kidding me? Could it be that Xia Xiao divorced him and found someone else? Seeing Yang Yonglin's expression, Gu Xingyi guessed what she was thinking. He couldn't help but laugh bitterly. You're right. I'm the one whose relationship with her was exposed back then. The one who quit the entertainment industry with her. Yang Yonglin suddenly didn't know what to say. She had heard of Xia Xiao, but she doesn't know who she's with now. She wouldn't pay attention to idol boy bands like Gu Xingyi's, who rely on looks to make a living. She doesn't care about them anymore. Now she's even starting to doubt whether those 2 songs were written by him. Gu Xingyi didn't give her much time to think. I continued speaking, noticing her conflicted expression. Is it really that difficult to get her to join your company? If it's truly difficult, I'll find another way. Besides, my request isn't just for her to join your company. I also hope she gets a position within your company. We need top-tier resources and freedom. Contracts shouldn't be a constraint. Ultimately, it's a matter of profit. I believe with my help, Inhai Entertainment will reach new heights, but I still hope you'll consider this carefully. Gu Xingyi finished speaking in one breath. He calmly picked up his water cup and took a sip. Yang Yonglin's face was serious. She clearly looked a little embarrassed. She spoke. Ultimately, we haven't collaborated before. Just based on the 2 songs you posted on Douyin, it's not worth that much. I acknowledge Xia Xiao's singing ability, but isn't the entertainment industry about more than just singing ability? I believe you understand that too. It won't be difficult to get her back, but the top-tier resources you want are contractually free. We've barely ever signed this kind of contract. Let us discuss this matter further. This is no small matter, although Yang Yonglin hasn't explicitly refused, but between the lines, it's implied that this is basically impossible, not to mention top-tier resources. Giving her top-tier resources would be extremely difficult. To cultivate her into a first-tier or even a top-tier superstar, her contract would also need to be flexible. Then she'd just leave. What should the company do? Who should we go to for help? You can discuss it among yourselves. I'll also express my stance here. This isn't just the problem you're facing now. In the future, you'll need to sing. Even the script. No matter what genre. As long as you ask, I can give it to you. I still really hope we can successfully collaborate. This time, let me do it. Aren't you just trying to see my abilities? I'm here. Why not make a decision after seeing for yourself? Gu Xingyi said. He looked calm and confident. Yang Yonglin gave him a deep look. This is the first time she's met someone so confident. This is the legendary, small self-face, referring to someone with unshakable self-confidence. The world is ignorant. In the end, Yang Yonglin left in a hurry after dinner. She had to discuss things with the company. Before leaving, she gave Gu Xingyi a room card. She booked the hotel in advance. It's right next to the restaurant. Wait for my message. This was her last sentence before she left. She was moved by Gu Xingyi's confidence. Such a confident person. If you say she has no abilities, she wouldn't believe it. Gu Xingyi arrived at the hotel room. After a quick wash, he lay down on the bed, thinking, if Inhai doesn't work out, he'll go to another company. There must be a way. If nothing works, he can just earn more money. He can work harder and start his own company. He can just quietly develop with Xia Xiao. Gu Xingyi didn't notice at all. His thoughts changed unconsciously. From initially just wanting to be a lazy bum, to now running around for Xia Xiao. In this short time together, he increasingly thinks of them. He even unconsciously integrated himself into this little family. Yang Yonglin's call came at 3 in the afternoon. She had already arrived downstairs. She said that Gu Xingyi needed to go to Inhai building with her. Gu Xingyi didn't say anything more. He went downstairs directly to meet Yang Yonglin. Inhai Entertainment's company. Located in the most bustling area of Magic City, the entire building is owned by Inhai Entertainment. At this moment, on the 18th floor of the Inhai building, in the reception room, the company's chairman, Yang Mei, the head of the HR department, Zhang Chao, several other managers from Inhai Entertainment are also here. Zhang Chao's face is very grim. He's currently speaking to Yang Mei. Chairman, I have no complaints about Vice Department Head Yang's work capabilities, but this time, I think she's paying too much attention to this Gu Xingyi. He used to be a nobody in the entertainment industry. Now he's making such outrageous demands of us. Those 2 songs on Douyin are good, but who knows where he got them from. I think we're just wasting our time. Regarding Zhang Chao's complaints, Yang Xian waved his hand. A kind smile was on his face. We should still give young people some opportunities. Let's see his talent this time. If it doesn't work out, I believe Xiaolin won't say much. Looking at the chairman's amiable appearance, Zhang Chao could only swallow his anger. But in his heart, he was constantly complaining. Isn't it because she's your daughter? You're just biased. Yang saw Zhang Chao's dejected look, and chuckled. As the chairman of the company, he naturally wouldn't just do whatever his daughter said. Actually, he had also listened to those 2 songs. They could only be described as perfect. However, he didn't need to explain anything to Zhang Chao. As for whether those 2 songs were actually composed by the person in question, it's a screw or a horse. You'll know once you pull it out and take a look. Besides, he's still quite interested in Gu Xingyi, a previously unknown artist. Now dares to be so confident. He even dares to propose such conditions. Many of the world's hottest stars. Each of them is a top performer in their respective fields. Truly one of the 3 giants. This luxurious scale, this gathering of big names, just looking at it gives one a feeling of high class and sophistication. It's quite impressive. As soon as he entered the lounge, Gu Xingyi felt that everyone present was looking at him. Their eyes revealed a variety of emotions, including suspicion, surprise, disdain, and curiosity. Gu Xingyi naturally took a seat in the guest area, one person facing a group, with an indifferent expression, composed and poised. Yang Mei couldn't help but feel a surge of admiration. Such a young man, facing this situation, and still able to be so composed. First impression is good. Okay, since the main person is here, let's begin. Mr. Gu, right? We've discussed your request in a meeting. Xia Xiao, right? We can sign the contract. Resources can also be allocated at the top level. But, the contract cannot be freely modified. We really can't do that. That's not how we sign contracts. You should understand what I mean, right? Gu Xingyi nodded. He naturally knew. But cooperation definitely needs to be discussed. How else can we know what their bottom line is? Understood. So, how long is the contract for? Yang Xian smiled, and looked directly at Gu Xingyi. 5 years. We will train her with the best resources, and she can release whatever songs she wants. We don't restrict what activities you participate in, but the contract must be for 5 years. This is the standard contract for all of the company's top artists. Gu Xingyi's brows furrowed slightly. He showed no fear in his gaze. He looked straight back at him. 5 years is too long. I believe in my abilities. Your resources plus my talent. Within a year, she will definitely be top tier. Perhaps it won't even take a year. So the most I can promise is 2 years. I've brought your company enough profit in the past year. That's enough. These past 2 years. Xia Xiao's songs don't need your concern, and I can write songs for your Inhai company for free. But the quantity is limited. Anyone can talk big. Become a top streamer within a year. Are you dreaming? Gu Xingyi had just finished speaking, when he saw a bald man sitting next to Yang Yonglin smile. He looked at himself with disdain and said. Gu Xingyi only glanced at him, ignoring him. He continued to stare at Yang Yang. As for this bald man, just let his actions do the talking. Enough said. Yang Mimi narrowed her eyes. Her fingers tapped lightly on the table. The smile on her face grew wider. It's good for young people to be confident. 2 years isn't impossible, but it all depends on your ability. I invited you here this time, partly to discuss cooperation, and partly because Huayin recently launched a nationwide activity, requiring every company to participate. But only one song can be selected. I want to win it. I wonder if you have what it takes. Gu Xingyi nodded slightly. Didn't I come here for this event? So arrogant. Such character. I like it. Deputy Minister Yang will go over the specific details with you. Then I'll be waiting for your good news. As long as your song is recognized, I can sign the contract right away. Yang Xian smiled lightly. He made the final decision. Everything was settled. Gu Xingyi also relaxed. He stood up and shook hands with Yang Mei. Then he left the reception room with Yang Yonglin. They took the elevator down 2 floors. They arrived at Yang Yonglin's office on the 16th floor. Yang Yonglin looked a little exhausted. She hadn't expected Zhao Qin to agree to such an outrageous condition. But this event is indeed very important. It's an officially sponsored event. The song selected at that time will. The company will naturally receive official favor. The benefits are self-evident. Businessmen chase profit. Father obviously wouldn't make a losing deal. Yang Yonglin's gaze towards Gu Xingyi was somewhat complex. She quite hoped that Gu Xingyi could achieve overnight success. This means my judgment was right. Back then, some of the companies' gossip would naturally fall apart on its own. Let's see. These are the details of this event. You only have 3 days to create it. I hope you get your wish. I hope we can successfully cooperate as well. Yang Yonglin took a file bag from the drawer. She handed it to Gu Xingyi and said. Gu Xingyi opened the file bag. A large title met his eyes. Ordinary Heroes. Seeing these 4 characters, Gu Xingyi's expression immediately turned serious. He continued to read. Heroes are ordinary, yet extraordinary. They have no divine power, yet they do things that even gods cannot. There has never been a god who descended from heaven, only mortals willing to step forward. In this chaotic world, it is the unsung heroes, diligently maintaining this pure land. They have passed down this tradition through generations. China, as a great power, certainly doesn't lack these ordinary heroes. It's just that few people know them. Now Huayin, in collaboration with multiple departments, is reaching out to a major entertainment company is soliciting songs for selection. The theme is Ordinary Heroes, to promote Chinese culture, and establish a new social atmosphere. The office is very quiet, only the sound of Gu Xingyi flipping through documents. Gu Xingyi's expression was the most serious it had been since his time travel. He flipped through the files. There were several photos underneath. The first one was a group of doctors and nurses wearing protective suits. The background was set at midnight. Under the dim lights, they collapsed outside the operating room, too exhausted even to take off their clothes. The second photo shows 3 firefighters. They were covered in soot and debris. Behind them was the extinguished fire. The firefighter at the forefront had a face covered in soot and grime, but he wore a bright smile. It was all because he held a child still clinging to life in his arms. Third photo. We only see the backs of the anti-narcotics officers. Their faces are unseen. We can only see the large characters on their backs, which read anti-narcotics. Ahead of them lie a group of vicious criminals. The fourth photo. It's a classroom about to collapse. 2 teachers are rushing the children out the door, and another teacher is holding a child, handing them to someone outside, and behind her, There was no one left. She was the last one. There were many similar photos. Gu Xingyi looked at them one by one, seriously. His heart trembled slightly, seeing a picture. I couldn't help but rub my fingers. This is the soul of Huagua. Gu Xingyi suddenly felt. Even if Yin Hai Entertainment didn't agree to her conditions, she would still write this song. It's his honor. It involves no personal gain. He doesn't care about gains or losses. These people in the photos, they deserve it. After reviewing all the files, Gu Xingyi organized and put away the documents one by one. He took a deep breath. It was at this moment that Yang Yonglin broke the silence in the office. Shocking, right? To be honest, if I were capable, even if I have to pay extra, I want to compose a good song to match them. Unfortunately, I can't. Even the huge Yin Hai Entertainment couldn't produce a single satisfactory work. What to do? Can you do it? You only have 3 days. Hua Yin will end this selection in 3 days. Gu Xingyi nodded. As a Chinese person, how could I not be shocked? Don't worry, leave it to me. Within 3 days, I'll definitely give you and them a satisfactory answer. That's all. Gu Xingyi put away the documents. He stood up. That's all then. Prepare some music manuscript paper for me. I'll study it slowly back at the hotel. Okay, I'll see you out. Yang Hanlin didn't dawdle. She knew it was difficult to compose a good song in 3 days. Very difficult. Time was pressing. She didn't say anything more. He picked up his pen and thought silently. After reviewing the documents, 2 songs came to his mind. Both songs fit the theme perfectly. One is called Nameless People. The other is Just Ordinary. Gu Xingyi pondered for a long time, before finally deciding. This one, Just Something Ordinary. The theme song of I'm Not the God of Medicine from the original world. Later, it was used by Hua Yang as the theme song for the fight against the epidemic. It fits the theme perfectly. Ordinary heroes. Unassuming. No need for a divine halo. Just your ordinariness. The whole song, while very simple, but the simple melody initially reveals a hint of sorrow. Then, it gradually shifts from sorrow to faith. Gu Xingyi picks up his pen and composes the music. As each note leaps onto the paper, Gu Xingyi seems to return to the time when the world was hit by the pandemic. Although everyone was trapped at home, they always believed we would defeat the epidemic. They were always certain that we would win. He remembered that great Zhong Nanshan. He remembered the countless beautiful reverse flow heroes. Just like that message. This world is broken and tattered. Yet there are always those who mend and patch it. No one is born a hero. Yet there are always those who bear heavy burdens and move forward. These are the ordinary heroes. The score is complete. Gu Xingyi rubbed his slightly sore eyes. He took out another piece of paper. He solemnly wrote down the song title. After finishing writing everything, Gu Xingyi put them together. He hummed softly. He wouldn't allow a single mistake in this song. He hummed it repeatedly several times, making sure there wasn't a single flaw. Only then, finally satisfied, did he lie down in bed. He suddenly felt a little anticipation for tomorrow, and their reactions when they saw the song. The next day, Gu Xingyi had a quick breakfast, without telling Yang Yonglin, and took a taxi to Yin Hai Entertainment alone. Yang Yonglin was still busy working in her office, when she was surprised to see Gu Xingyi visiting her. You still have time to come see me. There are only 3 days left. Big brother, hurry up and think of a song. What kind of song? I've finished writing it. Gu Xingyi smiled. He handed the sheet music to Yang Yonglin, who was completely shocked. Take a look first. I think this one should work. Yang Yonglin looked at Gu Xingyi like he was a monster. The usually composed and capable woman showed a rare loss of control. Are you kidding me? One night? What kind of good song can be written in one night? He wouldn't just slap something together, would he? Yang Yonglin frowned and took the sheet music. Yesterday, she still thought this young man was steady and excellent. Today, they're going to slap themselves in the face. She'll just have to see what he writes in one night. Yang Yonglin placed the light on the music manuscript paper. She still looked calm when she saw the song title. But then, as she slowly read the lyrics, I'm completely stunned. What amazing lyrics. They speak of the ordinary, yet reveal the extraordinary in every line. It doesn't mention a hero once, yet every line is heroic. These lyrics hit the nail on the head. Then Yang Yonglin eagerly looked at the score. A moment later, she suddenly raised her head, looking at Gu Xingyi, her eyes shining brightly. This is really something you wrote in one night. Gu Xingyi touched his nose, said calmly, what else? I stayed up all night working on it. How is it? Is this song okay? Gu Xingyi deliberately asked again. Actually, he knew in his heart, if this song doesn't work, then nothing will. Yang Yonglin's eyes grew even brighter. She stared intently at Gu Xingyi. You're truly amazing. My choice was right after all. Could you sing it for me? I want to hear how it sounds when sung. This evening. Yang Yonglin wouldn't even dare to imagine how much talent one needs to achieve this. To compose such complete lyrics and music in such a short time. She can't wait to hear what this song sounds like. She really wants to hear how it sounds when it's sung. Okay. Gu Xingyi nodded. He closed his eyes, briefly composing his thoughts. Thinking back to how I felt the first time I heard this song, young Hanlin immediately sat up straight, like a devout listener. The bright light in her beautiful eyes shone even more intensely. A serious Gu Xingyi is truly eye-catching. Gu Xingyi opened his eyes to this scene. He cleared his throat. He subtly averted his gaze. He took a deep breath. Only then did he softly begin to sing. Perhaps it's far away or yesterday, here or on the other side. A long and winding road, filled with joys and sorrows. People gather, and people part. Only by letting go of right and wrong can we know the answer. The courage to live on. Without a divine halo, you and I, born ordinary. Gu Xingyi's expression was serious. His demeanor was devout. His voice was gentle. Following the melody, he seemed to be slowly recounting some ordinary yet unforgettable things. Summer sunlight streamed in through the window, shining on Gu Xingyi's focused face. The scene made Yang Yonglin feel as if she saw a beam of light emerging from the darkness, shining upon the world, acknowledging the regrets amidst heartbreak. Life is long and short. A beating heart grows vines. I am willing to fight the danger. Falling into darkness, falling into the abyss. A face stained with mud, without a god's halo. Hold tight to the ordinariness in your hand. This heart, this life, has no regrets. The fire of life has been ignited. It's this feeling. Young Yonglin's heart began to tremble slightly at this moment. Her first impression upon seeing the document. That's it. Heartbreak. A lament on life. I love them, yet my heart aches for them. She finally understands what a gap means. The gap is that others can all feel it, but I can't express it. But Gu Xingyi was able to express this emotion completely, through a song. Right. Because of these lovely heroes, they fear no hardship. They ignite the fire of life. Only then can so many miracles happen in the world. Young Yonglin was somewhat captivated, watching the young man before her, immersed in his singing. One day, I may go far away. Perhaps we'll meet again, whether in a crowd or at the horizon. Let me see your face clearly again, even if tears fill my eyes. Though speechless, my face is full of tears. No need for a god's halo, just your ordinary self. Gu Xingyi sang this. His eyes were a little moist. Before his eyes, it seemed that once again appeared a face with an angelic countenance, yet blurry. He seemed to be standing there, just watching. Those who were saved were bowing to them in gratitude, and opposite Gu Xing, tears were already streaming down Yang Yonglin's face. She didn't seem to notice. She just looked straight at Gu Xingyi. Before, in her heart, he was just a talented, but arrogant man. But now, the image of him in her heart became clearer and clearer. He is not only talented, but also possesses a delicate heart, and qualities that others lack. He possesses a heart forever filled with gratitude. There is no such thing as peaceful times, only someone bearing the weight for you. My heart, my life, no regrets. The fire of life has been ignited. The song is over. Yang Yonglin was still lost in the song, until Gu Xingyi gently coughed twice. She then suddenly came back to her senses. She hurriedly wiped away the tears on her face. Yang Yonglin abruptly stood up. Her eyes grew even brighter. So bright that Gu Xingyi felt embarrassed to look at her directly. Okay. More than okay. Xiao Yu Gu. I really didn't expect you to give us such a big surprise. Just as Yang Yonglin was about to drive back, the office door was suddenly pushed open. Yang Mei walked in, clapping her hands, her face clearly showing surprise. Behind him, followed the Minister of Human Resources, Zhang Chao. At this moment, Zhang Chao clearly looked haggard. He couldn't believe it had only been this short a time that Gu Xingyi had actually released a song. Such a perfect song still. Dad, why did you come in without knocking? Seeing the visitor, Yang Yonglin's expression became a little flustered. She secretly wiped the tears on her face again. He shouted at Yang Xian with displeasure. Yang Mei, however, showed no sign of repentance. She still smiled, but the look in his eyes towards his precious daughter was rather strange. How long had it been since he had last seen his daughter in such a girlish manner? If I hadn't come, how would I know that Gu Xiaoyu wrote such a good song? Fine. Gu Xingyi was speechless. It went straight from Mr. Gu to Little Gu. Truly a businessman. Only family brings him benefits. You flatter me, Chairman Yang. As long as you're satisfied. Satisfied. Very satisfied. Xiao Yu Gu. Now we have the song. So as long as Huayin selects this song, we will immediately sign the contract with Xia Xiao. Now, let me sign a cooperation agreement with Xiao Yu Gu first. This will also alleviate Xiao Yu Gu's concerns. Yang Xian smiled and nodded. The efficiency was also very high. He directly decided the matter. Gu Xingyi finally relaxed. He knew the matter was practically settled. The group signed the cooperation agreement on the spot. As long as the song is selected, Gu Xingyi's previous collaboration with Yinhai Entertainment will immediately begin. After signing, Gu Xingyi bid farewell to Yang Mei. Chairman Yang, now that it's decided, that boy can leave first. Good. I also hope for a pleasant cooperation in the future. Gu Xingyi nodded slightly. He took the cooperation agreement and turned to leave the office. Let me see you out. Seeing that Gu Xingyi was about to leave, Yang Yonglin suddenly said. She hadn't dared to look at Gu Xingyi directly until now. Since the meeting, she had been looking at him like a starstruck fan. This is so embarrassing for a mature woman. It's just that Gu Xingyi is leaving now. Suddenly, she felt inexplicably reluctant to let her go. Xiaolin, I remember you still have some unfinished work, right? Little Gu is not a child anymore. There's no need for you to send me back and forth. Gu Xingyi turned his head, but before he could speak, Yang Mei across from him spoke first. Seeing this, Gu Xingyi smiled gratefully at Yang Yonglin. Thank you for your kindness, Director Yang. I'll just take a taxi home. After he finished speaking, Gu Xingyi turned around and walked out of the office. He gently closed the door behind him, then strode away. Meanwhile, Yang Yonglin in the office was like an angry little cat, suddenly bristling with anger. Dad, what do you mean? They just brought the song over, and you turn around and make them leave. How can you be like this? Zhang Chao, still in the room, witnessed this scene. Suddenly, I felt a chill down my spine. I swallowed hard. I quickly said, I still have some work to take care of. I should get going. Before Yang Mei could respond, Zhang Chao dashed out. He also closed the door tightly. Only after he went out did he wipe the fine sweat from his forehead. He quickly left. That's other people's father-daughter business. I can't be in the way. Yang Xian looked at her daughter's appearance. He didn't get angry. He just spoke earnestly. Xiaolin, you're not a child anymore. It's time to find a partner. Gu Xiaozi is quite nice, but don't forget, he's married. And as far as I know, he has a daughter. Yang Yonglin suddenly fell silent. After a moment, she said coldly, Of course I know. I only sent him home because he was my guest. It's as simple as that. The older sister reverted to her aloof demeanor. Even her father, Yang Xian, is a little worried about her temperament. Alright. Just know that. I suddenly remembered I have work to do too. I'm going. Yang Xian took off. She had just stepped out the door, when she suddenly poked her head back in. I'm serious. My dear daughter, you're 26 years old. It's time you found someone. Okay, no rush. I'm leaving now. I'm walking out of Yinhai building. Gu Xingyi waited by the roadside for a long time. He finally managed to hail a taxi. Gu Xingyi got into the car. The driver was still joking. The people who work here are all rich. Ordinary taxis don't come here. Gu Xingyi was lucky to have hailed a cab. Gu Xingyi shrugged. He's also helpless. He's here to ask for a favor. But this further solidified Gu Xingyi's intention to buy a car. It's really too inconvenient to go out. Waiting for a car wastes half a day. The car was driving towards the hotel. Gu Xingyi was looking up flights home. He planned to return to the hotel, pack a little, and have lunch before leaving. It had only been yesterday morning when he left home. Yet now, he found himself missing it. Gu Xingyi couldn't understand what was going on with him. I used to go out for so long in my original world. I never had the thought of wanting to go home. But coming to this world, it's changed. I haven't even chosen my flight ticket yet. But Yang Yonglin's call came in. Hello, Mr. Gu. I'm so sorry. My father's tone was not very good. I apologize to you on his behalf. Over the phone, Yang Yonglin expressed her apologies. Her tone was somewhat cold. It seemed like she was still angry at someone. Gu Xingyi was a bit surprised. He hadn't taken the matter to heart. Besides, Yang Mei had already been very tactful in her expression. As a big shot in the capital market, he's already been very accommodating. As for whether he has any intention of getting rid of someone after they've served their purpose, not at all. It's just a fair transaction. Having seen all kinds of people in the capital market, Gu Xingyi has long since understood this. It's okay. I didn't think anything was wrong. You don't have to worry about it. Hearing Gu Xingyi say this, Yang Yonglin's tone softened slightly. It's fine if you don't mind. By the way, are you on your way back to the hotel now? Yeah, I'm already in the car. I'm planning to pack up at the hotel and then head back to Jiangcheng. Gu Xingyi said. There was a brief silence on the other end of the phone. Then Yang Yonglin's voice came through again. Here's the thing. Mr. Gu, you better wait for another 2 days. If your lyrics are selected, they'll probably need your assistance over at Huayin. After all, you wrote both the lyrics and the music. You understand this song best. I've booked you an extra room at the hotel. You don't have to worry. Hearing Yang Yonglin's words, Gu Xingyi's plan to go home was foiled. His heart suddenly felt empty. But what they said wasn't wrong. If anything else comes up later, flying back and forth between 2 cities won't be feasible. Okay, I understand. Then I'll stay a few more days. Thank you for letting me know. You're welcome. The call with Yang Yonglin ended. Gu Xingyi hung up the phone with regret. He turned to look at the scenery flashing by outside the car window. He missed his little one at home. Thinking of little Meng Meng, Gu Xingyi didn't even realize. A smile inexplicably appeared on his face. As if telepathically connected, Gu Xingyi had just returned to the hotel. Bored, he pulled out his phone. Xia Xiao's call came in. Gu Xingyi answered the phone. Little Meng Meng's voice immediately came from the other end. Hey, is that Daddy? It's the little one listening. Even though he can't see Xia Meng Meng's face, Gu Xingyi still has an ant-like smile on his face. It's Daddy. Meng Meng, are you missing your daddy? Missing. Dad? Mom asked when you're coming back. At home at this moment. Xia Meng Meng held her phone with both hands, nestled in Xiaoyao's arms and said sweetly. A blush immediately rose on Xiaoyao's pretty face. Helplessly, I glanced at the little guy. It was clearly she who insisted on calling daddy. Why is she dragging me into this now? I never asked that question. Then tell mommy. Daddy won't be back for a few more days. Gu Xingyi secretly smiled. He guessed it was because the little one wanted to go home, but she brought up Xia Xiao. Xiao Meng Meng clearly wasn't happy after hearing that. She hummed and hawed on the phone. The corners of Gu Xingyi's mouth curled up slightly. I changed to a comfortable position and lay on the bed. Meng Meng, did you eat well today? Little Meng Meng immediately wrote upon hearing this. She looked up at her mother. Then, like a thief, she lowered her head. She whispered, yes, but Meng Meng wants to eat the food made by daddy more. The little one spoke very seriously. So seriously that it made Xia Xiao, who was eavesdropping, laugh. At such a young age, already tattling, saying in a roundabout way that my cooking isn't good. Then Xia Xiao heard Gu Xingyi's loud laughter on the other end of the phone. Xia Xiao's face turned even redder in an instant. She snatched the phone away. Okay, that's all for today's chat with Dad. Hello. That's not what I asked. I know. Is everyone at home alright? Hearing Gu Xingyi's answer, Xia Xiao only felt even angrier. Is he in love with Xiao? Very good. You were only gone for a day. What could have happened? Okay, let's not talk about it. Hung up. I need to make lunch. Hello. You can't do that. I haven't finished chatting with the little one yet. Goodbye. Xia Xiao didn't give Gu Xingyi that chance. She hung up the phone directly. Her face was burning hot. If they continued chatting, she was afraid she would want to beat someone up. Seeing Xia Meng Meng still staring at the phone with a face full of regret, Xia Xiao decided to make the small, green vegetables that Meng Meng dislikes the most for lunch today. Right. Children shouldn't be picky eaters. Gu Xingyi heard the busy tone on the phone. While feeling regretful, he still had a smile on his face. This is the first time he's seen Xia Xiao with such little emotions. It's quite good. Before, she always gave him a feeling of indescribable repression. That repression was as if she had no self, no emotions. Gentle to the point of weakness. How should I put this? Gu Xingyi calls them people lacking an independent soul. But now, the situation is slowly improving. She's becoming herself again. That's good. The waiting time has been long. Before they knew it, it was already the end of July. In a few days, August will arrive. Gu Xingyi has already been in the Magic City for 2 days. During this time, he and Yang Yonglin have spoken on the phone several times. Their relationship is no longer as distant. At least now, Yang Yonglin no longer calls him Mr. every time. It made Gu Xingyi feel awkward. She's clearly still a young person, yet she calls herself old. Gu Xingyi still wakes up early for his morning run these days. Everything seems calm and peaceful. No news yet from Huayin. Gu Xingyi could only wait patiently. Late afternoon on the 3rd day, Gu Xingyi received a call from a strange yet familiar number. Hello. Is this old Gu? I am Chen Feng. Chen Feng. Gu Xingyi never expected to receive this call. He quickly sorted through the original owner's memories. After a moment, he finally remembered. This is the original owner's best friend from university. After graduation, they went their separate ways. The original owner participated in a boy band audition, while his best friend, Chen Feng, was forced to go home and inherit his family's small supermarket. Going home wasn't Chen Feng's intention. His aspirations were never there. Gu Xingyi remembered that he always wanted to enter the animation industry. After all, they graduated from the Communication University. Chen Feng studied animation production and the like. Is it Feng, the crazy one? Long time no see. Thinking about the two of them arm in arm back in college, Gu Xingyi smiled and asked jokingly, he doesn't even have a friend in this world yet. Thinking about Chen Feng's character and personality from the original owner's memories, Gu Xingyi's smile widened. To have a true friend. It seems pretty good too. Lao Gu, what's the situation with you since you got married? You don't even answer calls. And you don't reply to messages either. Do you look down on me, your brother? On the other end of the phone, Chen Feng's reprimand came, but underneath it all was a hint of concern. The tone warmed Gu Xingyi's heart. It's just that the original owner, after getting married, always tried to. He was fawning over Gao and Su. He didn't even have time for his best friend. Hey, I was wrong before. Please be magnanimous and forgive my transgression. Let me off this time. I'll treat you to a meal next time we meet to apologize, okay? Gu Xingyi apologized, saying, but inwardly, he silently cursed the original owner. What a mess, I can't even tell if it's human or ghost. You've really lost face for me, Gu Xingyi. You said it. Then we don't need to wait until later. Let's do it today. Brother, I've arrived in Jiangqing. Chen Feng's tone was very excited. His proud tone was audible even through the phone. Crazy. It's not that I don't want to invite you. I'm not in Jiangqing right now. I've come to Shanghai on business. I won't be back for a few days. Gu Xingyi looked embarrassed. I didn't expect Chen Feng to go to Jiangqing. And I even missed him. Why did you go to Shanghai again? No, wait. I'm flying to Shanghai right now. You can't escape this meal. I barely managed to sneak out from home to do something big. I have to share such a good thing with you. Okay, I'll wait for you in Shanghai. Nowhere. I'll send you the location on WeChat. I can still afford a meal. Gu Xingyi readily agreed. He also wanted to see this long-lost best friend. Okay, it's a deal. I'm booking the tickets now. I absolutely have to treat you to a meal this time. Bye-bye. Let's go. Chen Feng is very efficient. After hanging up the phone, after a short while, I received a WeChat message from Gu Xingyi with flight information. Arriving at 10 p.m. Still a few hours to go. Gu Xingyi was also very happy. Even the anxieties of waiting for many days disappeared. Ting hummed a song, scrolled through her phone, and waited for his arrival. Before long, Gu Xingyi checked the time and saw it was almost time. He went downstairs to the entrance. A taxi pulled up at the hotel entrance. Two people got out. One of them, a slightly overweight boy about 1.7 meters tall, had a look of excitement on his face. He looked around the hotel as soon as he got out of the car. The other one was a girl, in a secondary dimension style outfit. She was petite and dainty. He got out of the car, slightly impatient. He followed behind the slightly chubby boy, until Gu Xingyi and the boy saw each other. Both of them froze for a moment. Then smiles appeared on their faces simultaneously. Lao Gu, crazy. The slightly overweight boy before him was Chen Feng. Chen Feng quickly walked forward. His eyes were filled with excitement. He gave Gu Xingyi a hearty hug. You little rascal. Not a bit changed. Even more handsome. I almost didn't recognize you. Gu Xingyi smiled and sized him up. You've gained weight. I remember how great your figure used to be. He's got muscles. How did he get like this? All thanks to a mother who thought he was too skinny. She fed me until I could barely get out the door. Chen Feng chuckled. He wasn't fat before. She also has a good figure, paired with a square face. She had quite an imposing presence. But since graduating and returning home, she's been pampered into this. Her square face has become a round, chubby one. I've gained a little weight. No wonder. But it's good this way. You look more comfortable. That's true. Chen Feng stepped forward and put his arm around Gu Xingyi's shoulders. Turning around, he pointed at the anime girl and said, "Let me introduce you to my girlfriend, Wan Qing." Gu Xingyi glanced at Wan Qing. He nudged Chen Feng in the ribs with his elbow, in a low voice. Okay, crazy. He's got a good girlfriend. After saying that, Gu Xingyi nodded to Wan Qing again. Hello, I'm Chen Feng's good friend, Gu Xingyi. Hello. Chen Feng's always talked about you. I didn't expect you to be so handsome in real life. When Wan Qing saw Gu Xingyi, her eyes clearly lit up for a moment, but she quickly composed herself, and replied with a smile, it depends on who the bro is. Chen Feng immediately said, his face full of smiles. This earned him a pair of rolling eyes from Wan Qing. It wasn't you. What are you so proud of? My brother and I are inseparable. Come on, come on, come on. I flew all this way to get you, you little punk. I'm not letting you get away today. Chen Feng hooked up with Gu Xingyi, walking forward. Do what you want with me today. I accept the punishment. The three of them walked together. In the end, Chen Feng actually only found a street-side barbecue stall. He dragged Gu Xingyi to sit down. Gu Xingyi chuckled to himself. He pretended to threaten to butcher him, but I still can't bear to part with it. I didn't realize this fat guy is so proud and stubborn. The three of them sat down. Chen Feng shouted loudly to the boss, ordering skewers. Gu Xingyi, however, noticed that Wan Qing seemed a little unhappy, but she still took out a napkin and carefully wiped the bench before sitting down. Chen Feng, with his carefree attitude, didn't notice any of this. Seeing this, Gu Xingyi patted Chen Feng on the shoulder. He deliberately said, "Crazy. Why don't we try a different restaurant? Aren't you trying to rip me off? How much can we cut here?" I didn't expect Chen Feng to give Gu Xingyi a side-eye warning. What's wrong? Can't stand street food anymore. Didn't you come here often in college? It's the same, it's the same. Let's get completely drunk today. Okay, such ingratitude. This guy is still so straightforward. Gu Xingyi gave a wry smile. Alright, alright, alright. Here, you decide. But I can't drink anymore. I've quit drinking. Chen Feng furrowed his brows slightly. He didn't understand what Xingyi meant. One moment you're disdaining street food, the next you're quitting alcohol. Gu Xingyi quickly patted him on the shoulder, explaining, "Brother, I've really quit. I made a lot of mistakes because of drinking before. After that, I changed. I never drank again." Chen Feng saw that Gu Xingyi's tone was sincere, so he let it go. He said with a hint of regret, "Alright, it's good you quit. Saves you from messing things up. Then let's just eat our fill today." "Oh, right. Where's my brother-in-law's wife? She didn't come to Shanghai with you." Chen Feng is 1 year younger than Gu Xingyi, so he always calls Xia Xiao sister-in-law. Gu Xingyi shook his head. "No, I'm here on some business. She's at home with the kids. It's you, though. How did your family let you out? Speaking of which, Chen Feng clearly had a smug look on his face. He leaned closer to Gu Xingyi mysteriously and said, "That's naturally because I managed to get it done with great effort. Wasn't I supposed to go back and take over the family's small supermarket? Huh. It wasn't long after I returned that I realized that it wasn't a small supermarket at all. It was a nationwide chain supermarket. Isn't that infuriating? My family kept this from me for so long. I only found out in the end. I'm actually a freaking rich second generation." Gu Xingyi was shocked. Back in university, this guy freeloaded off the company's food a lot. His monthly allowance was extremely low. He was the type who tried to stretch every penny. Now he's suddenly transformed into a rich second generation. I can only say his family sure knows how to play the game. Gu Xingyi gave a thumbs up. "You're amazing. Since you know you're a second generation rich kid, why aren't you at home living off your family's wealth? What are you doing out here?" "Damn. My friend, am a man of ideals and aspirations. How can I be a parasite? That's hard to say. My family only let me out." Chen Feng looked very unhappy. He had the air of a warrior with dreams, not the arrogant demeanor of a loser. Okay. Very conscious. Gu Xingyi really liked Chen Feng's personality. He immediately expressed his approval. Just then, the skewers arrived. The three of them ate and chatted. "Right. Lao Gu, what are you doing now? Why don't you work with me? I've opened a studio in Jiangcheng." Gu Xingyi hurriedly waved his hands in refusal. "Wait until Xia Xiao is ready to work. I have a child to take care of. He doesn't have any dreams. He just wants to be a lazy bum. No. I'm planning to be a full-time stay-at-home dad. How's that? That's quite a lofty ideal, isn't it?" Chen Feng's face showed shock. "Lofty. Too lofty. You're going to be a kept man. A gold digger." Gu Xingyi choked. He coughed violently for a moment. Who says being a stay-at-home dad means living off someone? However, it seems that living off Xia Xiao isn't so bad. Gu Xingyi fell into deep thought. Chen Feng saw that Gu Xingyi didn't speak. He was even more shocked. "Damn, you wouldn't really want to be a kept man, would you? But your looks are actually quite suitable for it. Screw you. Who says a stay-at-home dad has to be a kept man? I can still make money at home," Gu Xingyi retorted. He even noticed that when it was said he was a kept man, Wan Qin gave him a strange look. Chen Feng patted him on the shoulder, speaking earnestly. "I'm serious. Why don't you come work with me? I'll split my shares with you, half and half. You know, my dream is to make anime, to create anime with a unique Chinese characteristic. So I came out and found a business partner with my girlfriend. We opened a studio. My girlfriend is a voice actress. When the time is right, I'm planning to start a company. You also graduated from the Communication University. Your major matches too. How about it?" Gu Xingyi paused and thought for a moment. He could see that Chen Feng was genuinely being kind to him, and Chen Feng has always wanted to make anime, ever since college. He studied very hard, but his parents didn't approve. He never expected that Chen Feng would actually get his parents' consent. Ran out. That's quite persistent. Gu Xingyi thought for a moment, then shook his head. "Crazy. I appreciate your kindness. If you ever need any help in the future, feel free to ask me. But let's not do it together. I really plan to be a stay-at-home dad." Gu Xingyi patted Chen Feng on the shoulder, encouraging him. He said, "Come on. I believe you can definitely do it." "Okay then. I won't try to persuade you anymore. Whenever you want to come, you're always welcome. It's still the same deal. We'll split it when we meet. If I succeed this time, I'll finally realize my dream. Remember to watch my debut work then." Seeing that Gu Xingyi had made up his mind, Chen Feng stopped trying to persuade him. He gave Gu Xingyi a hearty laugh, and the two of them didn't continue the conversation. Instead, they ate their skewers. He reminisced about their happy times in college. Most of the time, Chen Feng was doing the talking. Gu Xingyi listened. While talking, he also occasionally gave Yuan Qing her favorite skewers. Yuan Qing would occasionally chime in, talking about some things about Chen Feng. Although no one had been drinking, the atmosphere at the table was still quite lively for a while. It wasn't until almost all the skewers on the table were gone that Gu Xingyi checked the time. It was almost midnight. The three of them had already fallen silent. Gu Xingyi then said, "Let's go back. My hotel should still have rooms available. You two can stay there." Chen Feng and Wan Qing nodded simultaneously. The three of them headed back home. On the way, Gu Xingyi and Chen Feng were chatting. Wan Qing was on the phone with someone. She stepped aside. Her voice was quite soft. Neither Gu Xingyi nor Chen Feng could hear what she was saying. For a while, the phone hung up. Wan Qing followed. Chen Feng turned his head and asked curiously, "Who was it?" "Wang Jun. There's a problem at the studio. They called to report the situation." Wan Qing replied. "What problem?" Chen Feng's expression was somewhat tense. He clearly took this studio very seriously. "It's just some equipment issues. They've already been taken care of. It's okay. You guys continue your conversation." Only then did Chen Feng relax and catch his breath. He turned his head and continued chatting with Gu Xingyi. "This studio has caused me a lot of trouble. When I was working from home earlier, I pulled all-nighters writing. Editing the videos alone took me half a year. Gu Xingyi nodded. It seems Chen Feng didn't act blindly. He's been preparing for this for so long. He started preparing even when he was still at home. Don't worry, crazy guy. I think you'll definitely succeed this time. However, who is this Wang Jun? Hi, he's my business partner. He also works in animation. I met Xiaqing and his at an animation festival. We hit it off at the time, so one became my girlfriend, and the other became my partner. Yes, so I guess I'm pretty lucky. Gu Xingyi didn't respond, but looked at the courtyard. At this moment, there was no expression on her face. It was as if she hadn't heard what Chen Feng said. Gu Xingyi was thoughtful. He was quite puzzled. Why is the madman's partner? The midnight call wasn't for him. It was for Yuan Qing, but he couldn't say that. Even if his relationship with Chen Feng was excellent, he couldn't interfere in these matters. Hopefully, he was overthinking. Chen Feng is careless. There are many things he doesn't pay attention to. But Gu Xingyi, who has lived 2 lifetimes, is different. After spending the night with him, he vaguely feels that there might be something off about this courtyard. On the surface, it seems very close to Chen Feng, but Gu Xingyi always felt she was distant from Chen Feng. The 3 of them returned to the hotel. What surprised Gu Xingyi even more was that they actually took 2 rooms. Chen Feng noticed Gu Xingyi's strange look, and his face flushed. He pulled Gu Xingyi to the side. He hesitated and said, Xiao Qin is a traditional person. She's not married, so I understand. Gu Xingyi gave Chen Feng a knowing look. Then he asked again, how long have you been dating her? Chen Feng thought for a moment. Almost a year and a half. Xiao Qin is a good girl. She came out to open a studio this time. It was her encouragement that gave me the resolve. Only then did I finally decide to leave. Okay, a traditional, well-behaved girl. Gu Xingyi patted Chen Feng on the shoulder. Crazy. Be more careful in the future. Just leave it to me. I know. I've watched this anime over and over again this time. I've confirmed there are no mistakes. Got it. It's completely irrelevant. Gu Xingyi could only pat his shoulder again. Speaking earnestly, just do what makes you happy. Since it was late, the 3 went upstairs. Chen Feng didn't go to Gu Xingyi's room to catch up with him. They each returned to their own rooms. The next day, Gu Xingyi had just finished his morning run. He was about to call Chen Feng to have breakfast together, but he saw that he had already packed his things. He came out of the room. Lao Gu, something came up at the studio. I have to go back right away. So urgent. Not even breakfast. Gu Xingyi was a bit surprised. Everything was fine yesterday. How did something go wrong today? Seeing Chen Feng's anxious expression, it must be a big deal. Skipping breakfast then. Wait until it's handled. Next time, I'll come visit you at your home directly, and I'll try your wife's cooking. Okay, I won't say much more. I have to rush over there now, or we'll miss the plane. Chen Feng said, his hand still pressing the elevator button. Alright, then I'll go downstairs to see you off. The 3 hurried out of the hotel. Luckily, I didn't have to wait long. A taxi came right away. Chen Feng got in the car. He waved goodbye to Gu Xingyi. Lao Gu, go back. See you later, if you have time. And, crazy guy, if you really have any serious problems, be sure to contact me. Chen Feng nodded. The car started, slowly disappearing from Gu Xingyi's sight, until the taxi was no longer visible. Gu Xingyi sighed. I hope everything goes well for the madman. Then Gu Xingyi's eyes narrowed slightly. If anyone really hurts the madman, then don't blame yourself for cheating. Gu Xingyi was an orphan. Both worlds were. But here, he has a family. He has friends. So compared to others, he cherishes this hard-won relationship even more. Those who hurt his family and friends, Gu Xingyi will naturally find ways to get them back. Chen Feng went back. Gu Xingyi suddenly felt a little lonely. Clearly, he came here alone just a couple of days ago. It was only after he arrived, and the place became lively, that this sense of loneliness became apparent. But fortunately, this loneliness didn't last long. It was just past 9 a.m. when Gu Xingyi received a call from Yang Yonglin. His song was chosen by Hua Yin. According to Yang Yonglin, the people over there just took one look, and selected this song from among thousands of submissions. Yang Yonglin's tone was very excited. She called Gu Xingyi while she was downstairs at the hotel. Hua Yin is preparing to shoot an MV. They need the composer Gu Xingyi to go on site for guidance. So-called guidance. It's just giving opinions. After all, he wrote the song. He's better able to feel how the MV should be shot. How should the song be sung? It's Hua Yin's style. A subordinate department of Huayang. Gu Xingyi tidied himself up. He washed up. Only then did he go downstairs. Outside the hotel, Yang Yonglin was still driving that gray Mercedes. You wouldn't know it to look at it, but it's driven by an older woman. A mature woman's tastes are different from other young girls. When Yang Yonglin saw Gu Xingyi, she tucked a stray strand of hair behind her ear. Her eyes seemed to shine a bit. Didn't notice that. After dressing up, you do look quite the part. Gu Xingyi touched his nose. He automatically ignored Yang Yonglin's gaze. Let's go. It's getting late. Let's finish up quickly and leave early. We can still make lunch. Gu Xingyi didn't say a word and got into the back seat. Yang Yonglin rolled her eyes. The front passenger seat is so big, he couldn't fit. The two of them got in the car. Young Hanlon drove while talking. The director in charge of the Hua In MV shoot called and kept praising you. How was it? Do you have any ideas about the MV and the lead singer? Don't go there and mess up. Young Yonglin was clearly more worried about Gu Xingyi being young, and not having experienced this kind of situation. She was worried he might freeze up, so she told him a few things in advance. Don't worry, I've got this. Gu Xingyi remained calm and collected. He didn't show any signs of nervousness. Instead, it was Yang Yonglin, who seemed even more nervous than he was. Yang Yonglin glanced at him in the rearview mirror. He really doesn't seem to have much of a sense of presence. That's why I didn't bring it up again. 9:40. The car stopped in front of a building's parking lot. Gu Xingyi and Yang Yonglin got out of the car one after another. Gu Xingyi looked up. I saw the large sign on the building. Huayang Television Station, with a line of smaller characters underneath. Huayin Headquarters. Overwhelmingly impressive. Gu Xingyi never expected that in his previous life, he hadn't even entered Huayin. This world, I'm actually here. Or rather, I was invited. Yang Yonglin walked ahead, urging Gu Xingyi, who was still lingering. The two walked side by side into the building. It seems Yang Yonglin had a prior appointment with someone. They had just entered the building. Immediately, a crowd of people came to greet them. Leading them was an elderly man with gray hair. Although the old man was of advanced age, he had a strong build, and still looked vigorous and spirited. His eyes shone with a sharp, bright light. This old man is unlike any other old man. There's not a trace of cloudiness in his eyes. Behind him followed a group of middle-aged men. Their ages were all around 40. This made Yang Yonglin and Gu Xingyi stand out considerably. It's not just that they're so young. A group of elderly people actually came to greet these two youngsters. The other staff in the building occasionally cast their gazes this way. They looked at Gu Xingyi and the other with inquisitive expressions. Grandpa Lin, why did you come down personally? If my dad finds out, he'll probably scold me to death. Yang Yonglin quickly stepped forward, and playfully grabbed the old man's hand. This action startled Gu Xingyi. A mature woman acting cute. Even gods can't resist. Indeed. A smile bloomed on the face of the leading elder, his face full of indulgence. Lin, my girl, don't try that with me. Your dad even dared to scold you. He should be burning incense that you didn't beat him up. Grandpa Lin, the usually composed older sister blushed slightly. She said coquettishly, all right, let's get down to business. This must be young Master Gu, truly a young hero, a remarkable young man. Hello, sir. Thanks for the compliment. I'm Gu Xingyi. Gu Xingyi politely nodded to the elderly person. Okay. And talented, and polite. Only someone who could write this song. I'm the director of this MV, Lin Guodong. If you don't mind, you can call me Master Lin, along with Lin. Seeing Gu Xingyi being so polite, not pretentious at all, with a demeanor unruffled by praise or criticism, Lin Guodong was even more pleased. The Gu Xingyi he had imagined was just like this, a mind with depth, a belly full of talent, and he's so grateful. There aren't many young people like this nowadays. Grandpa Lin, then I won't stand on ceremony. Gu Xingyi kept a faint smile on his face. He gave off a warm and sunny feeling. Okay, Xiao Gu, then let's go upstairs. Lin Guodong was very happy. He even changed his address. He directly pulled Gu Xingyi's hand and walked towards the elevator. There was no mention of the other's thoughts. Gu Xingyi could only follow, but he still nodded to those middle-aged men as a greeting. The elevator went straight up to the 20th floor. As soon as they exited, Lin Guodong pulled Gu Xingyi into the recording studio. Xiao Gu, Lin said you sing very well. Could you sing something for us? We haven't heard this song since we received it. We haven't decided on a lead singer yet. Okay. Gu Xingyi nodded in agreement. Xiao Gu, a cappella or piano. This song only needs piano accompaniment. Okay. When it came to business, Lin Guodong became noticeably more serious. He left Gu Xingyi alone in the recording studio, taking everyone else out. As the staff member turned on the microphone, the group of middle-aged men eagerly awaited. I watched Gu Xingyi sit down in the recording studio. He was brewing with emotion. Gu Xingyi was very serious once he got into work mode. From the outside, Gu Xingyi's expression in the recording studio visibly changed. Lin Guodong nodded upon seeing this. This is what a true musician is all about. A musician singing should first imbue the song with emotion, instead of just wailing and howling. Meanwhile, Gu Xingyi began playing the piano. As long as the prelude of ordinariness begins to sound, everyone outside instantly held their breath, listening to the piano. They didn't blink, watching inside. Perhaps it's far away, or yesterday, here, or on the other side. A long and winding road, filled with joy and sorrow, reunions and partings. People gather, and people scatter. Lin Guodong only listened to a single packet. His eyes widened suddenly. That's right. This is exactly the image he wanted to present in his heart. When he saw this song, he knew. Hearing it now, the feeling was even stronger. Those middle-aged men looked at each other, one after another. It's unbelievable. They never expected that the song, actually sung, would be like this. And young Hanlon, even though this was the second time she heard Gu Xingyi sing this song. But she couldn't help but her eyes sparkle. She stared intently at Gu Xingyi inside. This Gu Xingyi was simply too captivating. Gu Xingyi was completely unaware of this. He had already immersed himself in the song. He only wanted to sing it better. The best is to leave no regrets. One day, I may go far away, but maybe we'll meet again, whether in a crowd or at the horizon. Let me see your face clearly again. Wang's eyes welled up with tears. Silent tears streamed down his face. I don't need a god's halo. I just want your ordinary self. The song was drawing to a close. Lin Guodong's eyes were now slightly red. He used to be a soldier. He can feel the meaning of these lyrics even more deeply. Often, those hidden behind the scenes, unknown, the most ordinary people, are the greatest. They are the ones who deserve to be admired by today's young people. But, so many chasing stars, how many would chase them? More than just Lin Guodong. Everyone outside is deeply touched. They are just like Gu Xingyi. Everyone entered that state. Originally, a truly good song can really move everyone. The song ended. Gu Xingyi took a deep breath. He calmed himself down. He just stood up and walked out of the recording studio. A group of people outside were still staring at him. The next moment, everyone spontaneously applauded for Gu Xingyi. Lin Guodong was even more excited, stepping forward to shake Gu Xingyi's hand. The gaze is intense. Xiao Gu, this is the feeling. I don't think we need to change the lead singer. You should go for it. I have a feeling this song will sweep the internet. A storm of attention for these unsung heroes. That's exactly the effect we want. Those heroes who silently dedicate themselves deserve to hear such praise from the old man. Even someone as battle-hardened as Gu Xingyi, he couldn't help but blush slightly. But he still shook his head. With a sincere expression, he said to Lin Guodong, Grandpa Lin, I won't be the lead singer. I have a better idea. Why don't you listen? Lin Guodong frowned. There are better singers than the songwriter of this song. There are plenty of people with good singing skills. But he believed no one could understand the meaning of this song better than Gu Xingyi. It was clear Lin Guodong was reluctant. Gu Xingyi stopped beating around the bush. He quickly explained his idea. It's like this. Grandpa Lin, I think this song is more suitable for children to sing. On the one hand, the children's voices are clearer and more ethereal. On the other hand, having the nation's flowers sing of the deeds of unnamed heroes is more touching. Hearing Gu Xingyi's explanation, Lin Guodong couldn't help but widen his eyes. Oh my god, this guy's a genius. Right, why didn't I think of that? Children inherently possess an endearing quality. Let them sing. Combined with the footage I shot myself, it's sure to resonate deeply. Amazing. He truly lives up to my expectations for a young person. Lin Guodong's gaze became even more fervent. Even the middle-aged men behind him, it was as if they suddenly had an epiphany. They looked at Gu Xingyi in disbelief. They selected these clips from countless materials, matching the length of the song. But they couldn't decide on the lead singer. Unexpectedly, Gu Xingyi solved it with a few words. Xiao Gu, you're a true genius. Are you interested in working for Huayin? Don't worry, your talent will definitely not be wasted at Huayin. Lin Guodong developed an appreciation for your talent. He wants to bring Gu Xingyi to his side. Such talent is wasted outside. No, Grandpa Lin, I'm just a lazy bum. I'm already very content to have been able to help you this time. Gu Xingyi repeatedly waved his hands in refusal. Just kidding. He knows his own limitations. He's merely offering suggestions from a position of advantage. After all, the most memorable thing from his past life was that group of children singing this song. Lin Guodong was speechless. Are all salted fish like this now? But he didn't push it. Anyway, Gu Xingyi is right here. He can't run away. I'll look for him again if I have such a chance in the future. Okay, to each his own. Then Xiao Gu, you'll have to put in extra effort this time. We can talk about future collaborations then. Come with me. Let's take a look at our shots first. Do you have any suggestions for this footage? Lin Guodong called to Gu Xingyi. He took him to another studio. This is where the shots are edited. All the footage will go through a rigorous selection process here. Then it will be edited into this MV. After entering the room, the intermediaries began to speak all at once, introducing everyone. Gu Xingyi looked at the computer in front of him. The screen flickered with various camera feeds. Each feed displayed those unknown, silent unsung heroes. Gu Xingyi was startled. He didn't expect there to be so many shots. And many of these shots would ultimately be discarded. This made Gu Xingyi somewhat sad. In his opinion, everyone featured in this material deserves respect, and deserves to be known to the world. Lin Guodong seemed to understand Gu Xingyi's thoughts. He patted Gu Xingyi on the shoulder. Little Gu, don't be sad. That's their responsibility. This promotional video won't either. No one will remember any of them individually. They represent a group. As long as people are grateful to these groups, they will subtly remember this society. It's good enough to have these lovely people here. Speaking of which, they should also thank you. The song, Ordinary, is not only suitable for the taste of most young people now, but also promotes this kind of positive energy. We old guys don't usually make songs like this, suitable for young people, but we're afraid everyone will forget them. so we thought we'd solicit some songs. Lin Guodong sighed, then smiled at Gu Xingyi. It's good that you created what we wanted. It showed me the passionate hearts of today's youth. This is great. Gu Xingyi looked at old Master Lin. Then he glanced at the people on the screen, constantly flashing. He was truly moved by them. Indeed, no matter which world you're in, there are always such lovely people. Grandpa Lin, I don't have any of these materials, and I don't have the video production skills. I'm not an expert in this field. It will still need your team to complete it. To be honest, I'm actually eager to see the finished video now. Gu Xingyi said sincerely. He believed that with this team, the final video would turn out great. It will definitely resonate more deeply than the original world. Alright. We will definitely complete it as soon as possible. At the latest, by the end of July. By then, this trend will spread across every street and alley in China. Hearing Gu Xingyi say this, Lin Guodong nodded happily. Right. Lin girl told me you also have a following, right? 10,000 fans. You even released 2 songs. Then we'll push out this promotional video. Let's collaborate on your Douyin account. After all, you're the main force behind this video. Gu Xingyi was stunned. Why is there even something for me? He thought it would just be his name in the songwriting and composition credits. He didn't expect that even Douyin would be a collaboration. This is clearly the old man showing favoritism. You know, the videos that Huayin releases, their views are needless to say. The income from the traffic at that time would be enough to make one very comfortable. Naturally, Gu Xingyi wouldn't refuse. He felt even more grateful towards old Master Lin in his heart. Then thank you, Grandpa Lin. Gu Xingyi expressed his thanks to Lin Guodong. His tone was sincere. Lin Guodong waved his hand, indicating that it was something Gu Xingyi deserved. End this topic. The people in the room began discussing the details of the follow-up work. This involved a lot of specialized knowledge. Gu Xingyi didn't say anything more. He just quietly listened, waited for Gu Xingyi to walk out of Huayin building. It's already 1 p.m. Now his head feels all swollen. When those guys start talking about work, they all get incredibly enthusiastic. They're practically workaholics. In the end, it was young Yonglin whining that they should go have lunch. Only then did the two escape. Lin Guodong originally wanted Gu Xingyi to join everyone else in getting a free meal at Huayin's cafeteria, and continue participating in the discussion in the afternoon. Gu Xingyi used the excuse that his head was completely empty to slip away. He, an outsider, really couldn't get a word in edgewise on those professional topics. There was no need to stay any longer. The two walked out of Huayin side by side. The weather was fine when they arrived. Now it was actually raining a gentle drizzle. Gu Xingyi, shouldn't you treat me to a meal? Let's create something together with Huayin. We're going to make a fortune. The two of them walked toward the parking lot, drenched in light rain. Young Hanlin unusually became playful. She stuck out her tongue and teased. This mature woman is losing her mature charm. Gu Xingyi raised an eyebrow. You're from a wealthy, powerful family. Do you really have to bully someone like me, a commoner? Aren't you ashamed? TCH. Stingy. Yang Yonglin glanced at him, and quickened her pace. With a puffed-up expression, she got in the car first. Gu Xingyi smiled. He quickly followed. The more I get to know this older sister-type woman, the more I realize how genuinely nice her personality is. There's none of that oppressive feeling I got when I first met her. A classic case of being cold on the outside but warm on the inside. In the end, Gu Xingyi still couldn't escape that meal, leaving Yang Yonglin happily enjoying a free big meal. After having dinner, Yang Yonglin drove Gu Xingyi to Enhai Entertainment. They came here to pick up the contract. Gu Xingyi's initial goal was to sign Xia Xiao. The two of them entered the elevator. I don't know why. Gu Xingyi suddenly felt that Yang Yonglin seemed a bit uninterested. The whole person had clearly just enjoyed a big meal. Gu Xingyi couldn't understand. Women's minds are so hard to understand. Just like the weather today, it changes so quickly. He exited the elevator and went straight to Yang Mei's office. He had been waiting in the office for a long time. The contract is ready and on the table. He had his unchanging smile on his face. Let's see Gu Xingyi walk in through the door. Young Master Gu, pleasant cooperation. The contract is here. Is there anything else you need to add? Gu Xingyi nodded. He sat down at his desk. He began to examine the contract. The contract was very formal. 3 copies. It takes effect immediately once Xia Xiao signs. The contract terms are also as previously discussed. Enhai Entertainment will give Xia Xiao top-tier resources. Maximum freedom. In short, Xia Xiao can do whatever she wants. Just do what she wants. No one can force her. This is also what Gu Xingyi wants to see. The contract is for 2 years. Whether to renew it afterwards is entirely up to Xia Xiao herself. She has finished reading the entire contract. Gu Xingyi put it away. He stood up and shook hands with Yang Mei. Thank you, Chairwoman Yang. Pleasant cooperation. To be able to give such a return. Gu Xingyi's impression of him has improved considerably. At least he's not like other unscrupulous capitalists, whose contracts are full of traps. You're welcome. I value your talent. You value our company's resources. It's just mutual benefit. Also, you once promised to write songs for our company. I won't make a separate contract for that. I trust Gu Xiaoyou's character. Yang Xian also stood up. He held Gu Xingyi's hand and said, Gu Xingyi naturally would not decline, but he also stated his own point of view. Don't worry. However, I must make one thing clear first. I will only write the title track, and who I write songs for is entirely up to me. I won't write songs for just anyone. I don't have time. I have a temper, and the talent to back up my attitude. Yang Xian's impression of Gu Xingyi is getting better and better, but when he saw his daughter's expression, he couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Such a pity. Why get married so young? With Gu Xiaoyou's talent, if it weren't for the company's top singer being short on songs, I wouldn't have asked you to write one. After all, I know that with your reputation, what you write will surely be a masterpiece. Ordinary people don't have that qualification. The cooperation between us is happily concluded. Yang Xian suddenly changed the subject. Now we have the contract. Gu Xiaoyu was getting ready to go back. Gu Xingyi didn't know what he meant by that question, but he answered immediately. I'm planning to go back to the hotel now to pack and book a flight. I'll leave in a bit. After all, my services are no longer needed here. Is there anything else Chairman Yang wants to instruct? No. Then I wish you a smooth journey, Yang Meibang said with a smile, but in Gu Xingyi's eyes, it seemed like she was about to leave. He suddenly became so happy. She didn't think much of it. Gu Xingyi got up and said goodbye. Yang Hanlin saw Gu Xingyi all the way to the hotel entrance. She didn't follow him. Since entering Yinhai Entertainment, Gu Xingyi turned his head and waved goodbye. Okay, be careful on the road. Then he turned and walked into the hotel. Yang Yonglin watched Gu Xingyi's back, inexplicably feeling a little angry. A press of the gas pedal and I'm leaving here. Finally heading home. I miss my little baby. This is the thought that arises from the heart of Gu Xingyi at this moment. He quickly packed up his things. There wasn't much to pack. Just 2 sets of clothes. Book a plane ticket. Check out. Take a taxi. Do it all at once. 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Jiangqing. Gu Xingyi carried a bag full of gifts in his hand, and stepped into the familiar, run-down neighborhood. His steps grew lighter. In his eyes, even the surrounding worn-out walls, the walls seemed to become friendly, until I pushed open the long-missed door. The house was still spotless. A pleasant fragrance filled the air. Gu Xingyi took a deep breath. Then he strode into the living room. The living room was deathly quiet. Xia Xiao and Xia Mengmeng didn't seem to be home. He didn't immediately see the person he wanted to see. Gu Xingyi felt a subtle sense of disappointment. But the next moment, the master bedroom door suddenly swung open. Xia Xiao rubbed her blurry eyes. She walked out with a lively gait. The moment she saw Gu Xingyi, she suddenly woke up. Unconsciously, she widened her eyes and stared at him. At that moment, she was wearing a camisole nightgown. One of her shoulder straps had slipped down to her arm. Her hair was messy from sleep. Her mouth was slightly open. She looked exactly like a sleeping beauty. Both of them froze. In the glow of the setting sun, just quietly looking at each other. Then a radiant smile gradually appeared on Gu Xingyi's face, beaming. I'm back. Xia Xiaoyao's face slowly turned rosy. Standing there, not knowing what to do, my heart felt a little flutter. Yet, a hint of sweetness welled up. She lowered her head. She responded softly. Without thinking, she pulled up the strap. That had fallen from her shoulder. Right. This is for you. I happened to see someone selling them on the roadside on the way back. They smelled so good, so I bought a bunch. Gu Xingyi suddenly produced a bunch of lavender from behind. Small purple flowers bloomed. The sunset's glow cast a light golden hue upon them. So beautiful. Xia Xiao pursed her lips. She stepped forward and gently took the lavender from Gu Xingyi's hand. Her face was flushed. This was the first bouquet of flowers she received from him. Lavender. Its language is redemption and hope. She liked it very much. Thank you. Xia Xiao mustered her courage and looked up, staring into Gu Xingyi's eyes. His eyelashes fluttered gently. Have you eaten yet? Gu Xingyi smiled faintly. Not yet. You guys probably haven't eaten either. I'll make dinner. Go wake Meng Meng up. Xia Xiao originally wanted to cook herself. He just got back from outside. He must be tired after a long day. But she saw the determination in Gu Xingyi's eyes. And I remembered his cooking is so much better than mine. In the end, I still nodded. I'll go call Meng Meng. She'll definitely be happy to know you're back. She's been asking about you these past 2 days. Xia Xiao said. She turned and went back to the master bedroom. This time, she didn't close the door. Instead, she left it wide open. Gu Xingyi glanced inside. The master bedroom he saw now was vastly different from what he remembered. Xia Mengmeng lay sprawled on the bed, sound asleep. Xia Xiao gently lifted her. She didn't react at all. Not until Xia Xiao carried the little one to Gu Xingyi. He kissed her little face. He whispered something in her ear. Meng Meng, wake up. Daddy's back. Little Meng Meng suddenly moved. She slowly opened her adorable eyes. She looked around in a daze. Then, a light suddenly appeared in the little one's eyes. The little one waved its 2 short arms at Gu Xingyi. It's Daddy. Daddy, hug. Meng Meng misses you so much. The little one clung to him like a koala. After being hugged by Gu Xingyi, she clung to his neck and refused to let go. She stayed hanging on him. Even when Gu Xingyi went to the kitchen to cook, she still wouldn't let go. In the end, it was Xia Xiao who put on a stern face. Plus, I used Gu Xingyi's new toy as a lure. Only then did I finally get the little one down, and put him on the sofa. Xia Mengmeng played with the toy, her big eyes occasionally glancing towards the kitchen, as if afraid Gu Xingyi's figure would disappear again. I busied myself for a while. The food was served. 3 steaming bowls of noodles, accompanied by 1 meat and 1 vegetable dish. The family sat down at the dinner table happily. Xia Xiao looked down. The noodles in the bowl are topped with 2 pieces of green vegetables. As usual, there are also 2 fried eggs. Golden and tempting, they look delicious. She gently picks up one and puts it in her mouth. Her eyes squint in enjoyment. I have to say, Gu Xingyi's cooking is really delicious. These past few days he's been away, eating only his own cooking. I've lost my appetite. Xia Mengmeng was already slurping up noodles with her little chopsticks. A whole noodle was slurped down in an instant. At the same time, her eyes had already turned into crescent moons. This way of eating made it seem like Xia Xiao had starved her for a few days. It made Xia Xiao both angry and helpless. No skills to match. She humbly admits defeat. What else can she say? This made Xia Xiao eat faster. She didn't know why. When it was just the 2 of them at home, it seemed like they didn't have much of an appetite. But once Gu Xingyi came back, they both suddenly relaxed for some reason. Xia Xiao ate while lost in thought. It's terrifying to think about. Before, they couldn't wait to stay away from this man. In such a short time, they've been subtly corrupted by him. The only sound at the table was the slurping of noodles. It wasn't until Xia Xiao finished eating that she realized Gu Xingyi and Xiao Mengmeng had already finished long ago. The 2 of them were both staring at her in unison. Xia Xiao's face turned red again. She quickly wiped her mouth, stood up, and tried to hide her embarrassment. She clears the bowls and chopsticks from the table. I'll go wash the dishes. You spend more time with Mengmeng. She also stacked the bowl in front of Gu Xingyi. She picked it up and walked toward the kitchen, watching Xia Xiao float to the kitchen like a breeze. Gu Xingyi shook his head. He really didn't intend to compete with her this time. What's she panicking about? Dad, come and build blocks with Mengmeng. Okay. Xia Mengmeng jumped off the stool. She pulled Gu Xingyi's hand and walked towards the sofa. There were the new toy building blocks Gu Xingyi bought for her today. They could be assembled into various shapes of objects. The princess house from before had already been tidied up by Xia Mengmeng. Now it stands completely upright in the master bedroom. Xia Xiao still takes it out from time to play house with the little one. Now there's a new toy. The princess house will definitely be neglected by the little one for a while. With Gu Xingyi's help, Xia Mengmeng built blocks, forming the shape of a small house. While giggling in a childish voice, Gu Xingyi deliberately asked about the family situation at this time. The little one was more than happy to tell him everything.